Eastern on Fox.
Steve Sarkisian has his own comeback story. So does his team. For the Texas Longhorns and Sark, 2021 is about new beginnings. It's Fox College Football. It's brought to you by Geico. They've spent $200 million refurbishing the South End. Bevo is good to go, and so are we. The number 23 Ragin Cajuns of Louisiana, Sun Belt champs, in to take on Texas. It's hot, hotter than a deep post stove, as they say down here. 97 degrees, and we welcome you. Hi again, everyone. Tim Rando by my side, the old Sugar Land, Texas man, Spencer Tillman. Spencer, listen, it is a dawning of a new era.
Yeah.
6 years he was on hiatus as a head coach. Steve Sarkisian's the most intriguing story in college football in coaching.
Well, maybe the third time is a charm. And one thing that is intriguing to me, he's going to go with Hudson Card, a guy that comes from a storied high school program, but never thrown a pass at this level, Tim. I thought it was really interesting to see how Sark, compared himself to Nick Saban's ascent. Nick was about a 500 ball club coach until he went to that next level. Sark is hoping he'll follow suit, but he's going to have to do it for the time being with a young quarterback.
The Horns have made their way out. So has the freshman. And oh, by the way, Casey Thompson may be waiting in the wings as well. And what was a hard-fought quarterback competition. Now, flipping to the other side, the Ragin Cajuns are for real. They returned 20 of 22 starters. They have a coach that turned down at least a handful of SEC jobs to coach this team. And in Levi Lewis, when he's on the field, he's going to be the best player.
He's something special. When they go to 11 personnel, this guy looks like a next-level quarterback. He has great command. He can make every single throw. Obviously, he's a legitimate dual threat. You say he likes Michael Vick. He brings those memories to your mind. I think so. A little Kyler Murray in there as well with the speed and quickness. But ultimately, for me, Tim, it's about the command of this Billy Napier offense. He's got it down pat.
Forget stereotyping. Forget group of five versus power five. Louisiana is legit. And Texas feels they're on their way. Our progressive countdown tells you it's the year of the fan. 100,000 strong they are in the Lone Star State. Their way of life, your way of life, next.
Get ready. It's time for the...
The city of Lafayette has a population of 121,000 plus. This stadium almost equals that, and they're still filing in as we get ready to go. Game number 2 of a marvelous triple hitter here on Fox this afternoon. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman. The toss was won by Texas. They deferred. Louisiana will get it to open. Dicker, the kicker, is still here. Cameron Dicker, the senior from right here in Austin, Texas, and Chris Smith, who took one back 95 yards a year ago against Iowa State, will let this one go through for a touchback. So the Ragin Cajuns will get the football at the 25-yard line. Levi Lewis is just an incredible talent. We touched on him in the outset. Baton Rouge's finest. Scotlandville magnet, knew when he was in Pee Wee ball at age 10 that he was going to be a leader. And all he's done is break all kinds of records that were set by many that came before him. He joined Ian Book at Notre Dame and Justin Fields of Ohio State as the only 3 quarterbacks to throw for more than 5,000 downs. Be on over call hit deal. On his heels, he'll take it.
Got some water.
Heads to the wide side of the field with a marker down. Lots of room. He may take it the distance. Another flag goes down. This one will likely be called back, but it's an exciting 83-yard return of the punt. But that little yellow hanky is down on the 23 of Texas and up ahead to about the 45 of Louisiana.
Yeah, when you get guys coming down and they converge on that on the directional kick, usually someone got blocked in the ear hole or somewhere on the side, and it's usually about getting your helmet across the body so that you don't get caught with that infraction. But as you said, it was exciting. It's not going to take much to get this crowd jacked up, Timmy. This is a beautiful place with new elements in the reconstruction. How about that south end zone over there, man?
Yeah, Chris Del Conte, the athletic director here, has got to be awfully proud of that. They waited quite some time. They were putting the finishing touches on that just yesterday.
Both during the return. Personal foul, illegal blindside block, number 21, return team. That penalty is declined. Illegal block in the back, number 7, return team. That penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, Texas.
Tudas Salam is our referee today. Here's the block in the back that you're seeing.
You can see, Tim, the idea is to get your head in front of his shoulder pads, and if it's parallel or on that back shoulders, that's it. That makes the difference right there. It's slight. It's a game of inches for a reason. And those officials are there trying to protect those players. The bottom line, you always err on the side of the conservative, and you got to call that play to discourage it.
That was Keelan Robinson, the transfer running back, that was guilty of the infraction that was actually taken. As you see, the freshman Card making his way out onto the field. A hard-fought battle with Casey Thompson, whom we may see, that played so well in the Alamo Bowl a year ago. First pass deflected off of major pressure coming off of the edge from Louisiana. That was Braylon Trahan. They got a hand on it. Let's meet the Texas offense. Jake Majors is a youngster. Think about it. You got a redshirt freshman at center, true freshman. Think about that. Freshman on freshman to get the season underway for Sarkisian. Majors is a redshirt freshman to center. And here's Bijan Robinson, and they were waiting for that. Zion Hill, an outstanding defensive tackle. And they are strong up the middle, this Ragin' Cajun team. Kalen Humphrey, 99, flanked by Zion Hill and Andre Jones. Linebacking core makes plays. Riley on one side, Lorenzo McCaskill on the other. And they go 5 deep, playing nickel almost always.
Yeah.
Trahan is a big-time player, the free safety.
Here's the scenarios you want to stay out with the young quarterback. They lost first and second down. Tim, you got to throw it here. Let's see how the youngster does.
3rd and 11. He's looping it deep. Incomplete. Too strong. Intended for Joshua Moore. Mekhi Garner, number 20. Redshirt sophomore from Mesquite, Texas. With the coverage.
So defensive coordinator Patrick Toney playing conservative there. But Timmy, watch the off coverage. It's a bail technique. You turn your hips inside and you turn and run. You're not playing the quarterback, but you got to identify the ball at some point in time. Ultimately, it's overthrown. But more importantly, the narrative of this game is keeping this young quarterback out of those 3rd and long scenarios. You can bring pressure if you choose to. Louisiana did not on that last series, but they've got to win to the Longhorns 1st and 2nd down.
Dicker with the punt, and the fair catch. Did not make the fair catch and was wrestled down quickly. He wanted to make a play, a 50-yard boot. Eric Garrett down immediately. Outstanding work in special teams there by Keaton Crawford.
The Snapshot app from Progressive rewards you for driving.
Season 2, Tuesdays on Fox.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. And by Coors Light, made to chill. Let's get Tillman's takes for this matchup. And by the way, before we do, Spencer, we apologize for our audio difficulties during that first possession for Louisiana, so you can repeat whatever you said the first time
That's still
around.
good, huh?
Okay, get those takes for me, though.
Well, it's really all about establishing Chris Smith, the running back. They attempted to do it on that first series, but again, the incomplete pass kind of put that down. And so ultimately, if you can do that, because you don't have Elijah Mitchell, Trey Regis from last year, you're going to have success. Ultimately, cover and contain on the part of Texas to keep Levi Lewis in the pocket.
Out of the shotgun, Lewis dumps it down underneath. And we'll have a first down and then some. That's Amani Bailey. This is a young man.
Kwiatkowski, the Texas defensive coordinator, did a pretty good job on that previous series. Just a four-man rush up front. Again, the back leaking out after chipping, helping out, saving the protection again, taking advantage of all of those bodies dropping back.
Neil Johnson giving some motion. That was a 20-yard gain on the quick pass to Bailey. And he carries again. Runs right into Overshown. This is a hybrid backer that can really make plays. And we met with him yesterday, Spencer. Well-spoken kid that is loving getting to play for Pete Kwiatkowski, the new defensive coordinator here.
He's born for these times, Tim. Again, this is not the old school where guys would run a 4-3 scheme when you've got big bodies in there. This guy, as you said, is a hybrid guy. He can cover, he can run and chase, he can do all the things and never has to come off the field. That's what you want in a player.
Montrell Johnson is checked into the game. Now Lewis with the play action. Look at him throw on the run, complete, down to the 23-yard line. On the receiving end, Jacob Bernard, 86. Youngster out of Lakeshore High School in Mandeville, Louisiana, 16 yards.
Well, the key to this offense, again, is the southpaw delivers right underneath the would-be arm of a would-be Longhorn defender. I think you can see that he has great command. He didn't try to overstride that. He slowed down just long enough and understanding a wreck player in front of him, threw it right underneath his armpit. That's how accomplished Levi Lewis is.
They shuttle in receivers and tight ends, like a bus stop.
Now they're going with the two tight end look to the left side. That's the strength of this formation.
Right up the gut to Johnson. Montrell Johnson with a first down. Should be right on the mark at the 13-yard line. Overshown with the tackle, and they'll move the chains again.
Overshown is there, Tim, but this game is about numbers and names. This looks like some of that old next-level stuff that the Rams were doing last year until Bill Belichick ran into them. Hate to mix next level stuff, but this stuff all crosses over, guys. It's wonderful to see these guys adapting to this scheme to have success against a perennial program like Texas.
That was the fourth first down on this drive. That's LeBlanc in motion. And cutting back the other way again comes Johnson. Burrows ahead for about a yard. That play was well diagnosed.
Yeah, Luke Brockmeyer got in there at the Mike linebacker position, knifing in there, man. He's pretty strong. Behind Andre Corbin and company, he's going to be the consistent element flowing along with Overshown in the back end at the will linebacker position. This is built for their athleticism.
Ogofu, 18, also involved in that play. And they expect great things from this year. Bernard is in the game along with Chris Smith again. Bernard in motion. Nothing doing for Lewis. So the Longhorn defense stiffens a couple of tackles for losses here.
Yeah, that was a mistake right there, Tim. Ultimately, after motion, they had four guys in a pass route, and that meant they were outnumbered inside. So I'm surprised that whatever the read was, and you got to account for that, but Pete Kwiatkowski probably gave them a false read and look, and then as a result of that was able to outnumber them in that tackle blocks, because clearly with four wide receivers, your advantage was to go to the perimeter.
Third down, 9.
5 wides.
Line to make is the 3. Blitz coming right up the gut. Lewis handles it. Now in trouble and down. Slips at the 20. The pressure came right up the middle from the aforementioned Brockermeyer, 47. And then it was Overshown that polished him off.
Tim, I love the way they come across here. It's a scissor blitz. You can see Brockermeyer working with Overshown on that game and deal inside. Basically fitting them up nicely, but swapping responsibility. That's what you call playing defense with integrity. Outstanding job by two leaders on this team, Marvin Overshown and Luke Brockermeyer.
Kenneth Almendares, more consistent of the kickers from inside the 45. This is a 37-yarder. Right through. The young man gets it through from Brazos Wood High School in Clute, Texas. Timeout. Cajuns by 3.
Oh, you know who my money's on.
On Fox.
To help people affected by Hurricane Ida, visit redcross.org or text the word Ida to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Your gift is a commitment to helping people in need, and every single donation matters. Financial donations enable the Red Cross to prepare for, respond to, and help people recover from this disaster. And as a native Louisianian who has a lot of friends and relatives in the southeastern portion of our state, believe me, the guys standing right next to me, our statistician and content coordinator Scott Alexander, lives in inner city New Orleans and just had his first shower, I think, this week last night with us. Packers, by the way, are playing the Saints in Jacksonville on Fox on week 1. Here comes Deshaun Jameson with the return. Let's get Tillman's takes for Texas when they've got the football.
Timmy, Texas didn't do a great job of this because they put the young quarterback in a position where he had to throw the ball late. You don't want that, but they've got to maximize protection. They did protect him, but Louisiana chose not to blitz, so that's got to be a priority number 1. And then ultimately, you got to win first downs. If you can do that, you maximize the pressure opportunities. That's what Louisiana's response has to be. So you had them in a 3rd and long in that last series. If they can duplicate that at some point in time, they're going to have to go deep.
From the 30-yard line, 1st and 10. Bijan Robinson is the setback. Card with time, and he's going to give it on a little safety valve to Robinson out of the backfield. Something you'll see him do a lot more with Sarkisian at the controls than he did a year ago with Tom Herman. And he's ahead to a 9-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 1. Brandon Bishop, 25, with the tackle.
Yeah, the redshirt sophomore transfer did a nice job open field, because let me tell you something, when that guy gets open, you better make sure you've got a sure hand on him.
2nd down, a yard to go. And Robinson, what a cut. Look out. That may have been a touchdown-saving tackle right there. Made in the open field by Guerrer, 19, because of the speed that Robinson has. He may have taken it to the house.
Watch the natural flow, how his eyes take him back to the left side, and it makes one guy miss, then 2 ultimately, and then a 3rd guy miss. Let me tell you, this guy right here is cut up like coleslaw, Tim. He looks ripped. He's good. I mean, he is absolutely fit. He is a beast.
Well, that will be number 1 Spencerism of the 2021 season as Carr dumps that one after getting a lot of pressure up the middle from Andre Jones, number 10, the 240-pounder out of New Orleans Archbishop Shaw.
With all disclosure, I borrowed that from the late John Blake, a great coach at Oklahoma and a couple Super Bowl winners with the Cowboys. He used to refer to us as having that, so I borrowed it. I love it.
He left all that talent for Stoops to coach.
Yes, he did.
Bob took over. He had a great debut today on Big Noon Kickoff, by the way. Robinson ahead for a couple. Zion Hill, number 4, with the tackle. Now, for Zion Hill, unlike Big Saucy, 99, he's shorter than Humphrey, but he's got a quick twitch about it. Yep. He takes great angles and is very difficult to block.
This team is deep, Tim. On both sides of the ball, they run and chase like few teams at this level do.
3rd down and 9. Well, look at that. That's Roshan Johnson into the game, and he will carry the mail quite a bit behind Robinson on such a hot, sultry day. Sarkisian talked about maybe 20 touches for Robinson, but on a day like today, you can bet Roshan Johnson will get a lot of playing time.
Chauncey Manick was behind him here. Timmy chasing number 17, that outside linebacker. The strong side came in and made that play.
Well, they're deciding to go for it here on 4th and 6.
That's an interesting call. Interesting call here. Let's see how Patrick Toney, defensive coordinator, decides to defend this play. Will they pressure the young quarterback in this scenario?
It would have been a 57-yard field goal try for Dicker, really outside his range. Here's the pressure against Card. He's got room. Oh, it's going to be close. I think he just got the line to make. Out of bounds at the 34-yard line. A.J. Washington a little late to recover, and a much-needed conversion for the freshman from Lake Travis High School.
Lake Travis finest. He got the yardage that he needed, but there's a coachable point on that, Tim. When you get so close to those sticks, you don't turn sideways. You got to get up vertically. You can actually make 16 miss if you just do that. He understood what the sticks were, so give him credit for that. But it was prior to that move outside when he headed for the sideline and could have compromised an opportunity to get that with certainty.
That last step is what got him the first down.
Did.
Johnson trying the right side. Is ahead for a couple. We'll call it a gain of 4, so second down coming up.
It's really interesting as you look at Texas's backs, and Sarkisian understands exactly what he's going to be facing today. They're staying in Louisiana in a 4-man front primarily, and they run a good amount of 3-man front, which gives them the best chance to get pressure on this young quarterback, but haven't seen much of it.
Yeah, that's their base, really, is a 3-man front, but you're right. There are 4 guys with their hands on the ground. Robinson tries the edge, bouncing off tacklers, and inside the 25-yard line. Near another first down.
You know, it's amazing. I thought Kendall Wickelson, number 8, the defensive end, had him. Watch him reach out there. He's been held just a little bit, but just beyond the outstretched arms. John Robinson, man, is a special back. He's got strength. He's got speed. He's elusive. He's slippery. He's everything you want in a back. And I want to see them integrate him in the throw game. I think he had somewhere around 193 yards last year. He's on slate, in my opinion, to have at least 300 to 400. That makes them unstoppable.
Play fake to him now. He's running a wheel route. Card's looking that way and opts to run, showing his resourcefulness, and he's down to the 20-yard line. Gain of 4. Second and 6 coming up.
Oh, a beautiful defense play there by Patrick Toney, who had the weak side linebacker. And I'm telling you, man, that's not supposed to happen, Tim. When you have 95 dropping in coverage, he should have been wide open. But that shows you the kind of athleticism that they have to be able to cover. He's working at the will linebacker position, giving up maybe about 30, 40 pounds the opposite direction. A back is supposed to be able to get by him, but they're so athletic, they don't blink twice in dropping them in coverage. And they're covering like a blanket.
Card with more yards on the ground than he has in the air. 9 passing, 10 on the ground. He needed them all to get this drive where it is right now. Robinson running against the stone wall, and some help, some real support from Lorenzo McCaskill and Farrod Gardner. These are the 2 guys that are lightning quick up front. Gardner from Dayton, Ohio, and McCaskill made his way to Cajun country from Detroit City.
Both inside linebackers in 2 and 7. They wear those numbers, those single digits, make them look so slim and athletic, and they showed you some of their flexibility there. Defending the run with aplomb.
Gunnar Helm has come in at tight end. The double tight end look, they go strong left. On 3rd down and 4.
Texas has got to come back to the left side here if they're going to have success.
And they do. Robinson flushed. Touchdown, Texas.
Beautiful job of diagnosing what you see. And you remember yesterday, Tim, we had the conversation with Steve Sarkisian. He said, hey, I asked him about real-time decision-making by this young quarterback. He played the numbers game. This is about names and numbers. Too many for Louisiana on the opposite side. Uncovered, left a wide-open receiver.
Yeah, that was all about formation, wasn't it?
It sure was. And recognition by the young quarterback.
The extra point is good. And the horns come roaring back. And a 4th down conversion by the freshman to help get it done. They lead 7-3 on Fox.
This Labor Day, put an end.
Order on your favorite delivery app.
11 plays, 70 yards. Robinson, by the way, 25 yards rushing on that drive, 27 receiving, including the touchdown. So that was very much his drive, but give Hudson Card, the freshman quarterback, a lot of credit for that 4th down ad-lib that just made the stick move. Keep the drive alive on 4th down.
Robinson went to the opposite side, Tim, of that formation. Patrick Toney's defense for Louisiana didn't respond to it. That put him in a bind.
Too much Dicker the kicker to keep Smith from bringing it back, who is very dangerous. Here's a look at that touchdown one more time. A lot of green and no Cajun in sight.
Sunday at 8 Eastern on FS1.
Fox Fox College Football is sponsored by Pacific Life. More than 150 years strong. Protect what matters most. And by Honda. Go back to that touchdown, Spencer, and talk about the breakdown defensively here for the Cajuns.
Well, when Robinson changes from the right side to the left side, this is part of it. With the tight end over there, they're outnumbered. So I remember names and numbers. The tight end takes him on a shallow crossing levels route, vying for a natural pick that he didn't have to make. But there was no defensive response, and so Patrick Toney, the defensive coordinator for Louisiana, has got to sort that out. They've got to diagnose the formation and then respond accordingly.
And we've got a legal procedure right away to back up Louisiana.
I'll start. Number 29, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Peter LeBlanc, a state champion hurdler and a young man that's gone through a bevy of injuries in the back half of the 2020 season, but he was the big recipient of that touchdown pass against Iowa State a year ago to the day almost that helped put that one away when the Cajuns won by 17 against the Cyclones. And of course, we all know about Matt Campbell's club. Smith is the setback. On 1st and 15, only 3 for Smith. Redshirt sophomore out of Mississippi.
Ray Thornton did a fantastic job as you look at Coach Billy Napier here, responding here. 4th season at Louisiana as head coach, Tim, doing pretty good. The only thing he needs to get is that outright championship.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for.
Got a piece of it a year ago. That one getaway that he wouldn't let go of, at least in our meeting yesterday, no question about it. 2nd down and 13. Little curl pattern to Jalen Williams, one of the really veteran players on this team out of Opelousas, Louisiana. He's ahead for 15, and Josh Thompson takes him down.
Yeah, Josh was there, but just a little bit late. You know, anytime there's so much water between the receiver and the defender, you have to wonder 2 things. Did we diagnose the play right, the formation, and then is that guy just athletic for that position? And we've got a mismatch, and both of them need to be addressed. Here comes a little cat slot blitz up top off the numbers. Texas has shown it. Levi's showing you some of that maturity, getting the back involved in this protection.
Looked like Brockermeyer, didn't it?
Nice
Here comes
job.
Smith to the edge. Uh-oh, you better wrap him up. He gets ahead to about the 39-yard line. Managed to take a 3-yard loss and make it a 1-yard gain. That's Ray Thornton, 46, collaborating with Brockermeyer, 47, for the stop.
Timmy, we can look for Johnny Lumpkin and Hunter Bergeron, some of these guys that are playing tight end and the H position for Louisiana. They're going to be called on to block away from the formation sometimes to seal off those backside like they did on that last play. It's going to be key. They're kind of unheralded, outstanding players, but they don't get attention, but they're really key to what they do offensively here in Louisiana.
Dante Fleming is a speed merchant. He was in motion, comes to the bottom of your screen, number 17.
Here comes the blitz, so out.
Looking in that direction, incomplete. Mix-up between Lumpkin, 88, and Lewis, but you're right. There was pressure impacting that release from Levi Lewis.
Yeah, Levi wants to get that play in quick, but here it comes again. From the inside, you had 4 in the delay with Brockermeyer and company blitzing, and then pressure off the edge as well, Timmy.
Yeah, ball was tipped, too, by Ojomo, 98. 3rd down and 9. Looking for their first conversion on 3rd down, Louisiana.
Let's see if this bunch formation, that's a short formation, gives Texas any problems. See if they sort it out.
Montrell Johnson,
they're going to run
the top.
They're going to bring him out and let him run it.
Lewis, crossing pattern, and it's dropped by LeBlanc. Normally a sure-handed receiver going underneath. He couldn't hang on in a punt formation coming up, and still the Ragin' Cajuns in search of a 3rd down conversion.
Well, they cleared it out for him, exactly what they wanted to do, and they got the shallow cross, the natural pick underneath. That's like stealing. You got to catch that ball. That's just a bad mistake there. Unfortunate.
Would likely have been stopped shy of the 1st down because he was well defended, but you're right. It's one you got to bring in.
Yeah, if you're nitpicking, maybe the ball is put out in front of him so he can continue and not slow his speed. It was on his back shoulder, but that still doesn't explain the drop.
Burns punting it away. This is a good one, getting a healthy roll for the Ragin' Cajuns. They'll go dead inside the 10. at the 8, 55-yard boot. Well, we touched on this, the most intriguing story in college football coaching being Sarkisian. In exile as a head coach after being at Washington, where he did a solid job. USC, he ran into well-documented problems. Personal problems he had to overcome. So he goes to the rehab center for head coaches in Tuscaloosa. And then later Atlanta, only to return to Alabama and help them to a national title with Mac Jones a year ago. I loved what he had to say about what he has to prove. He says this program at Texas has a lot to prove, and frankly, I've got a chip on my shoulder as a head football coach.
And to this point, Tim, and we'll unpack this after this play does, his career arc similar to Nick Saban's. Nick was just north of 500.
Right. He was at Michigan State before heading to LSU, and a little bit like Pete Carroll, who had been fired as a head coach in the NFL. He sought refuge and found it at USC. A lot of times when you're coaching at a place not worried about the next job, you're going to have the most success. The Ragin Cajuns and the Texas Longhorns with an entertaining opening quarter. It's 7-3 through 1 here on Fox.
Hold up, I need you on Fox, the Fox Sports app.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Geico. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman back here at Darrell K. Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. As you look at Steve Sarkisian, his offense is backed up inside their 10 at the 8, and Bijan Robinson is in the backfield on 2nd and 10. Out of the shotgun, Card lets it go, and it is caught at the 40-yard line by Worthy. Xavier Worthy, the freshman from Fresno.
Tim, how's about this with your freshman quarterback backed up in his own line with press coverage on the outside, bail technique, nice double move on the inside, and then back outside and keeps himself away from that inside defender so as to get more additional yards. That's just an outstanding read and finish. 34 yards.
And we're going to tack some more on to go with it. Call came quickly. They move it ahead to the 42-yard line. I think that was just an announcement, no flag, just an announcement about a declined penalty.
Just
a declined holding penalty, yep. And it was defensive holding. Robinson.
Nice.
Look at that by Card. But the Ragin Cajuns won't be denied. They pull him down at the 40-yard line. Boy, impressive for Card to keep that play alive as long as he did with all of the pressure. Finally, A.J. Riley, 95, out of Conroe, Texas, made the stop.
Well, he looked more like a pit bull than a beaver on that one. Look at the tenacity and the elusiveness from Card. Unbelievable job of staying alive on this play and keeping that ball high and tight along the way. Don't want to give it up to turnovers. This kid's got some savvy to him. You know, when we talk to him, he's a little bit slim, maybe demure in his personality, but Tim, when he lines up, he's not afraid to execute.
You know, he played wide receiver his sophomore year at Lake Travis because he had some guys in front of him, Matthew Baldwin.
A foul for targeting.
So now we're getting a targeting call. I'm guessing that was called down because it wasn't made by the officials.
Correction.
So that had to be a call down.
Previous play is under review to determine if there were too many players on defense.
And so they're looking at that too. Wow. I didn't see a flag down for targeting.
No.
So this had to be a call down from our replay official, Jack McDonald.
Well, if they took the time to call down from up top, that means it was pretty egregious if they did. So
are they correcting the targeting? They're looking now for too many players on the field.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They got 11. The two high safety looks is cover 2.
Yeah.
Looks like the numbers are fine. It had to be some type of penalty about targeting or something.
Well, targeting was mentioned. Targeting was mentioned by the referee, and then we got information that they
after review
started looking for this.
There were only 11 players on the field for the defense. There is no foul on the play. It's second down.
Okay. Well, it's game number 1 for these guys. So maybe a little anxious. Thought they saw targeting, didn't. Then decided they'd look for too many men on the field. The referee himself corrected his targeting statement. We just didn't hear that in that particular moment in time.
Well, we never want to see targeting, but I'm really anxious to get my little four-pronged stool approach to help people understand exactly what it is. Been doing my homework.
Boy, I tell you what, one thing we can count on, the inconsistency in targeting calls and when targeting is not called, that's for sure. Roshan Johnson is now in the backfield, play fake, and it's a quick out pattern through Joshua Moore. He's got it, and he is ushered out at the 46, a gain of 6. Eric Gerard handling those chores as you look at the youngster from Austin Lake Travis, and played in the All-American game where he really did impress. A two-time All-Stater at a high school, as we mentioned, has really put out its fair share of great players at that position, including, of course, Baker Mayfield among that talented group.
Wow.
Look out.
Bijan.
There's Bijan. He popped it.
Hey, listen, I knew it was only a matter of time till they worked him into it. They went what they call four verts concept, and all that means, folks at home, 4 vertical receivers, and they're trying to stretch the field that way.
Yep.
So on either side, a little hesitation move inside and turn, present those numbers, and I loved him how he ran that. We call it a skinny post route, a nice nod outside, and then once you make that cut inside, you want to get back vertical so as to keep that safety a significant distance away from you so that he doesn't impede your ability to get as much yards as you can.
Johnson comes in for him and carries it down to the 21-yard line. That's exactly what Robinson was talking to us about yesterday, Spencer. Loving the opportunity that Sark gives him to line up in the slot, to line up at wide receiver, to be a lone setback whenever possible. When they say 20 or more touches, they're not just saying running the ball.
That's right.
They're talking about getting him the ball in space.
That's right. And any good athlete knows that, look, it's not just about doing it out of the conventional running back formation. It's about give me the opportunity to spread formations to help this team improve.
Pre-snap markers down.
A little
Looks
left
like
guard
a false
action.
start. Yep. Looked like maybe Okafor moved prematurely. We'll see.
False start. Number 75. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
It was actually the right guard, Angelau, the guilty party, the junior out of Salt Lake City.
Yeah, he's one of the more experienced offensive linemen they have, and that's atypical for them. You want him to hold his water and stay put in there. You can see on the right side, he kind of wiggles just a little bit there, gets anxious.
Could have gotten either one, really.
Yeah.
Okafor moves too.
So you know they want to pull him, so you can't run the same play anymore.
On 2nd 11. Card. Right down the sidelines, incomplete, overthrown. Intended for more, defended by Mekhi Garner, who's an outstanding cover corner. Sophomore from Mesquite, Texas, has some size about him, 6'2", 212.
And that shows you what kind of confidence they have on this defensive unit. Moore got it behind him, but again, just the ability to recover, Tim. And the youngster just put it just beyond the outstretched arm of his wide receiver. But once again, the confidence on this defense and offense to take the shot and then to defend it admirably.
3rd down, 11. Guard again forced to roll out and dump it, get rid of it. Live for another day.
Yep, he's smart to do that. And Zion Hill was the right defensive end who almost had him there, but number one just slipped right out of his hands, man. He's pretty elusive, Tim. I was really surprised to see this guy get away from some of the would-be sure tackles.
That 4th and 6 conversion he made on the touchdown drive.
That was impressive.
That really was. All right, Dicker will line it up on the near hash at the 35, so a 45-yard try for Cameron Dicker, 15 of 21 a season ago.
Nope.
And it's no good.
Wow.
So the Cajun defense has to feel some confidence coming off that stop. Plenty of time remaining in the opening half.
Winding windows are flying off today. Fox.
Built for Success is presented by Rocket Mortgage. For the playbook on home loans and all of the above, Rocket can. Well, you look at Built for Success. How about this? Got the victory over Iowa State, finished with a 10-1 record, and look at that, 7,200 snaps.
That's the one
played
right
from
there.
the offensive returners. Yep. That is an amazing number.
That's a lot of what we call crystallized intelligence for Billy Napier. That's where guys, it's the sum total of all of those experiences coming to bear that allows you to coach at a high level.
Lewis just grabbed the handle late and managed to get the exchange to Montrell Johnson. Now that takes a little experience right there to not be rattled. Overshown with the stop. A healthy pickup of 7.
Yeah, you can see he does a great job of handling it. Again, it's a hot ball. He wants to go to his left. The ball is on his right shoulder, and he needs to make that extension out to his back who's going on the opposite side. That's really tough.
Montrell Johnson remains the setback. Lewis. Wow, overthrown, had a man wide open. Had Neil Johnson wide open and just airmailed it that time.
Yeah, he did. He was just sitting there waiting. And again, Lewis needs to settle down a little bit. This is kind of a little bit a different look for him. But moving him out of the pocket is what he's got to do. That ball probably should have been caught.
It should have been. Yep.
You know, again, sometimes you can do a little bit too much as a receiver. He just needs to kind of slow your motor a little bit, calm down.
I like that reaction from Johnson, the sophomore tight end. I know you got it in you. Lewis was 3 of 4 for 51 to open the game, 0 for 3 since in the air.
And a tight, close formation. Usually running out of this to the inside. Got a flag.
Yep. The whistle has blown the play dead, but some of the Longhorns didn't hear it. Levi's really happy that they finally stopped.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
I think Lewis is down on himself and has gotten rattled just a bit after that pass of his that sailed.
But I liked what you were going with your train of thought because, again, they're the last team that wanted that play to be snapped because they were in a very bad formation for what they wanted to do.
They definitely got a break. Looking for that elusive 3rd down conversion that they don't have in this game as yet.
Now Texas has got to watch the shallow crossing route. They love it out of the bunch formation. And if they show you play action and those linebackers close, watch underneath in the throw game. Here they come.
Out pattern and it's caught. That's Rogers. Stop shy of the 1st down. Outstanding tackle there by
if you're Billy
Jamison.
If you're Billy Napier, what you're looking at is what happened on that play. It was a pressure call by Texas. There was absolutely no underneath coverage. So you run an arrow route and get a short yardage. If you bring that route totally across the formation, there's nobody underneath. There's nobody underneath those shallow crossing routes. These are the type of routes you see Lincoln Riley design at Oklahoma. They take a while to develop, and maybe that made him a little bit skittish, but there's going to be opportunities for that play. I guarantee you they're taking note of that.
Well, give a lot of credit to Witkowski again. He's got Lewis a little rattled, and we've seen that before with Witkowski coach defenses. That one's taken by Worthy, Xavier Worthy.
Nice move.
More than Worthy. Spun down at the 38-yard line, a healthy return, and good field position coming for Texas when we return. 46-yard boot, a 13-yard return.
We're making a difference.
Want to stay up to date? Just tell Siri, show me college football scores.
Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, welcoming you back to Austin, Texas. Our triple hitter of college football on this week 1. Texas and Louisiana, UCLA and LSU to follow. 9:45 remaining. You look at the numbers on card. 5 of 10, 95 yards. Does have a touchdown. Bijan Robinson. There he goes again, and a flag comes down behind the play in the backfield. Yellow Hanky rests at about the 40-yard line.
Nice blocking there. Lorenzo McCaskill, the inside linebacker, number 2, got his head in there.
Holding, number 68. Offense, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's Kerstetter, 68, the senior right tackle from San Antonio, who is guilty, and that'll back him up. That was almost a 1st down run. He got about 9.5 yards on that carry.
Yeah, the senior out of Ragin. It comes from a good program. The guy's got natural talent, but again, you got to execute down here.
First and 20. And Joshua Moore was in motion, and he'll take it on a little bubble screen, really. Not much. Ahead to about the 31. We'll call it a 4-yard gain.
Braylon trying the weak safety. Got in position over there to make a play, and that's about how you get success, Timmy. It's about being where you're supposed to be. Run fits is what they call them, and it's about responsibility.
I don't know about you, but I thought we would see at least a few more explosive plays by both teams. I thought both defenses would keep this game in check, but I thought we'd see a few more explosive plays than we have so far. Robinson's had his moments, but for the most part, Patrick Toney's got to be pleased with the job that they've done in limiting big plays. I know that was one of the things they were looking at as a real key in this game. The defensive coordinator for Louisiana, Brandon Bishop, made the stop that time.
I think there's a legitimate reason why you see the stalwart defensive play. Pete Kwiatkowski, his career arc, Tim, has really been interesting. He's been at places where you didn't have this plethora of talent, so he had to come up with some inventive ways out of the same mold of Gary Patterson and others who come up with those short defensive fronts, playing smaller guys. They had to do it. Necessity, the mother of invention.
Down in 12 for Card. On the run. Finds his man at midfield. It's a first down. It's Whittington. Youngster they call Jay Witt. Jordan Whittington.
I love how he fitted that ball right between number 24, Braylon Trahan, and you can see that he waited until he cleared before he got it. See, the ball is released and it's out of his pocket. Now they're going pace and tempo here, trying to use it as a tactical advantage.
Yeah, Robinson gets nothing really. A little penalty flag down on the field at the 49-yard line.
Now that's the first time tonight we've actually seen pace and tempo used at this level as a tactical advantage.
Right after a first down.
Illegal substitution. Defense. There were too many players on the field at the snap. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, and that's why you see they run, as Napier looks at it, that's the reason why you run pace and tempo. Because by the time the defense figures out what you're trying to do, it has to be communicated to the sideline and then to the players. And that can be problematic. You just can't be too smart for your own pants sometimes, and it messes you up, particularly with the young quarterback, but well executed by Texas.
So first and 5 now. Roshan Johnson now the setback. On the blitz, off the corner, and he's taken down by A.J. Washington.
Well, the right cornerback comes off that left side. Actually, this time he usually flips and plays the strong field side. But when you're in the middle of the field, you don't know where the best athlete. You don't have to pick and choose. There's number 16 right here, leaning, coming inside. The quarterback's eyes are front side, the opposite direction. Nice job of keeping your head to the opposite side by A.J. Washington so as to avoid the targeting call. Well executed play. Looking for tendencies.
See King High School, Houston, Texas. That's the third sack of the game for Louisiana. Card pulls the trigger late after a pump fake, and it's grabbed. It may be enough for a first down to Whittington again.
Cameron Solomon, number 27, again playing back and across the field in that weak safety position. He comes across the double pump. He brings it down. Didn't watch him reset his eyes. Excellent job. And then that ball thrown over the back shoulder of Robinson, crossing, and then underneath it, the clear finds a guy wide open. I mean, this guy's moving, Tim, from his first look to his second, really, and I've even seen a couple of times to that tertiary option, that third option.
This time pressured again. Ball is on the ground. Card retrieves it after being hammered by Kendall Wilkerson, number 8.
Recovered by the offense.
It was a fumble. And that was an opportunity at a turnover, but give Card again credit for wrapping his hands around it after a loss of 10, the fourth sack.
Yeah, Kendall come from his defensive end position. Man, the guy's 6'5", 250. Sophomore, he's long. That's what you're looking for. He can redirect those balls, Timmy. He's so smooth with it. He's sneaky, stealth-like.
Yeah, that is a fumble. The arm was moving, but the ball never went with him after that hit was made.
The field of a fumble recovered by the offense is under review.
Oh, they're going to take a look at it, though. Yeah.
We had a similar call in the game earlier on Fox with Wisconsin. And then the quarterback, I think they got a hand going forward on that one. This one is a little bit different.
Tuda Salam will defer to Jack McDonald. But again, I thought that that was a good call live. Watch again if the ball, does the ball come forward with the arm? We know the arm's going to go.
Well, you can make the argument it was going forward, Tim. I know it was close.
I don't think so.
But the question is, does he have control with it going forward? I think it's going forward, to be honest with you.
I believe the ball's got to go with him, and I thought he got it at the very arc of where the arm was.
Sawbuck?
Well, as is oftentimes the case whenever there's a debate during replay, it really doesn't matter what we think. The fans think we're jerks for even speculating. But that's why we've got Pereira back there to take the heat off of us. But I know this about Mike. Especially when it comes to targeting, he's seen
he's all over
and he's also seen some missed targeting calls. Had a big one in that Minnesota-Ohio State game late the other day. Mr. Pereira, can you help us, please? We've got a sawbuck at stake.
Well, I mean, I want a part of the action if I'm going to try and in here. Let's forget the arm for a second. Focus just on the hand. Has the hand started forward with the ball in control? This was ruled as a fumble, but again, to me, look at that hand has just started forward. I recognize that it's close, but again, just forget the elbow, forget the arm, just look at the hand. And now they just have to make the determination on whether or not they feel that that hand has started forward. If I was to lean one direction, it almost seems to me like it has.
Okay.
I love you, my man. I love you. Unabashed.
After review, it was an incomplete pass. It will be second down and 10 for Texas at the previous
Mr.
spot.
Tillman. As usual, I'll be buying at the end of the game today. So it goes as an incompletion. But the presence of mind by Hudson Card to act as though that was, in fact, a fumble and go back and retrieve it tells you a little something about his presence, and he's been outstanding. I think he has certainly passed the early test for Sarkisian. And Kyle Flood is offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's definitely engaged, and that's what you want from a young player, man, just to be mindful.
Second and 10. And there goes Robinson again, burrowing ahead to the 35-yard line. Now remember, Texas had a 70-yard drive earlier in this quarter. Wound up missing a field goal. They got nothing out of it. They really dominated this quarter.
Progress was stopped prior to the ball coming loose. Third down.
So it remains third down. Ball apparently came loose, but late. Third down and 5. They're 50% on third down conversions today, the Horns.
Here's McCaskill coming in late here trying to get that ball out. He's been making plays, and you can see him. Farrar Gardner, number 7.
Gardner gives it the Peanut Tillman punch.
Yeah, he does.
Third and 5. Card pressured again. Lets it go. What a move there. That's Roshan Johnson. In space. The Cajuns had a chance for the stop. And Roshan went uptown.
Well, this guy's got more moves than X-Lax, man. Watch this guy leap up in the air. He's unbelievable. Well, see you. Thought you had me. He's gone. I mean, that's you can't buy that, man. You think you got this guy in your gun sights. You play the technique like you're supposed to play it, and he just embarrasses you.
Hard. Looking towards the end zone. Caught.
He's
by Whittington, but out of bounds. He's been the go-to receiver. We do have a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
Take nothing away from the execution of the play, though.
Holding, number 70, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Christian Jones guilty this time, so they've tagged Angelau, Kerstetter, and Jones, 3 of the starting 5 of the Texas offensive line with holding penalties here in this half.
Yep, and you can see him again with that right hand. And Jimmy, it's obvious holding. But he's thinking about his quarterback and protecting him. He knows he's a youngster back there. He's acquitted himself in this quarter and nearly 2, almost a half of his freshman campaign.
Chauncey Manack was coming through there, the star backer, and he was holding Robinson the setback on 1st and 20. And they set up a little screen action to Moore. Wide receiver screen, had a bit of a convoy in front, and he's down to the 23-yard line.
Well, there's so much of an inside game that's being played here because you look in the backfield, you swear with the action of the lineman and the H-back or the fullback that this was going to be a run. Steve Sarkisian loves to have mirroring plays that look the same.
On 2nd and 13, Robinson again. Puts it inside the 20 to the 19.
And the value, Tim, of having plays mirror, it's when you in those run conflict scenarios where it's 3rd and 2. And when you get in that formation, they think you're going to run it, then you throw it, or alternately you throw it when they think you're going to run it. It just gives you the flexibility, because if you're reading and reacting, the formation is your first step in diagnosing the play. But what could it be? It could be either one, and that's where a good mind. That's the reason why he's got his 3rd chance at 47 years of age. He's still getting opportunities. Your gifts will make room for you.
All right, it's 3rd and 9. They go 5 wides and an empty backfield. Plenty of time. Underneath again. It's Whittington. Inside the 10. Down to the 8. Pickup of 11. And another first down. Mekhi Garner with the stop.
Timmy, this is just unbelievable skill set here. We got a down Louisiana player, but watch Ferrard Gardner, the inside linebacker, get dealt right here. He tries to hold the inside move. The inside move, the arrow, and then he gets juked.
Yeah.
Sits him right down. Boy, that's great athleticism right there, and a nice arrow route underneath to get open.
And I believe that may be Gardner that's still down. Well, I think he was off balance and maybe tweaked something in that process. We'll check on him and be right back.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people like Geico.
At the all-new Carfax.com.
Pacific Life Game Summary, sponsored by Pacific Life. More than 150 years strong. 7-3 our score. The total yards really got out of whack here in the second quarter. Texas has taken control of the game. The Cajuns looking for their first 3rd down conversion. And they didn't want to see this either. Ferrard Gardner, one of their best players, redshirt senior, an all Sun Belt performer, out now. And Roshan Johnson has come into the game. And he takes it on a little wildcat. Taking the direct snap was Roshan that time.
Percy Butler, the free safety, in on the tackle on that one, Timmy. But back to put a bookend on, of course, Ferrard Gardner. It's just sad, man, when you see a redshirt senior, a guy that's hung around out of Trotwood Madison High School.
Hey, he's listed in the top 10 of defensive players at that position, okay? Coming out by Pro Football Focus. He's got a big-time future ahead of him. We hope it's not as bad as it looks. Robinson. Now, that was just an outstanding defensive play by Big Saucy. That's Talon Humphrey. Squats 600. He is the beast of the weight room in Lafayette. I stopped by there on my way here to Austin, and he's quite a character, this young man out of Hutchinson Community College.
They got him in a 2 technique, Tim. He's not playing up in a 3 formation. We haven't seen any 3-man front, so they've got him playing in an even front here. That means they're 4 or balanced up front, and he's playing that 2-gap technique so impressively.
14th play of the drive, and once again in scoring position. Card, that is to the end zone. Is it a touchdown? It is. Cade Brewer.
Well, he threaded that one, got it just inside the inside arm of Percy Butler, the free safety here, number 9. And, Tim, that was an impressive throw and catch. Again, there's nowhere else you can throw this ball. And first of all, he kept it low, and he kept it down. And it's just like a great picture. You talk about location, that's the equivalent of this right here. Defenders banjo coverage on either side. That means they've got him in a sandwich scenario, and he places it right there where Meyer got it and pulls it in. Great vision. And even though he zeroes in, he put something on that ball.
He did.
Man, that's strong right there, brother.
Hudson's dad, a long-time Texas season ticket holder, has been bringing him to games here as long as he can remember. How proud he must be of his son's first-half performance. Decker will try the extra point. For Cade Brewer, his 6th touchdown reception of his career. That's the 2nd touchdown pass today for the man named Card. And right now, it's a favorable deck. Fox College Football is sponsored by Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 5G and Z Flips 3 5G. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Well, Hudson Card leads his team in the second quarter big time. They have outgained Louisiana big time in this quarter.
You know, watch the tight end slip out here, Tim, but watch how he's bracketed on either side by defenders. He pivots and turns inside. That's how you play against that zone coverage. You find the soft spot, equal distance from the two inside defenders, and you split the difference. And the reason why you split the difference is to make the throw as accurate as it possibly can be. You never want to put it in jeopardy.
Outstanding job by Dicker. Again, a touchback, and UL will have it. But right now, we're going to take you back to Los Angeles. Here's Mike Hill to tell you what's coming up on the State Farm Halftime Report.
Mike Hill coming up on the State Farm Halftime. Reigning champ Alabama is picking up right where they left off. Could second-ranked Oklahoma survive a late scare? And number 11 Oregon had their hands full with Fresno State. College football is back. We'll see you at the half, Tim and Spencer.
You got it. Thank you, Mike. And I got to tell you, I've seen Chris Peterson's debut today in our studio, and he's looking good. The old Washington coach who had Kwiatkowski with him.
Yep, Bill O'Brien at Alabama, the new offensive coordinator for Alabama, seems to not have missed a beat.
Well, let's see what Levi Lewis can do here. He's really been rattled here in the second quarter. Goes with a quick out to Rogers, and Errol Rogers is ahead for a healthy gain on first down. To give you an indication, in the first quarter, these two offenses were 69 and 69 yards, okay? In the second quarter, 137 for Texas, only 12 for Louisiana. They got 9 on that one play right there.
I think they wanted to get a timeout there. Not the formation they wanted.
Knew they were in trouble. Imani Bailey tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Brockermeyer.
Those coaches were jumping on the sidelines like, well, Ragin Cajuns. They were trying to get somebody's attention because they saw them running right into the teeth of that defense. Didn't want to get it. Again, look at all the numbers inside. You can see where the line of Brockermeyer and company zeroing in to make an excellent play in the backfield. Just outnumbered, Tim.
Here we are again, looking for their first third down conversion. 0 for 4 so far today. Bailey remains in the backfield. And I think by just a smidge, they get the first down. Brockermeyer with the stop of Imani Bailey. It's very close. Now, do they get a right foot mark? Oh, they got the bad mark. You know, if you get the left foot mark instead of the right foot mark, Spencer, that's trouble. I think he's going to be short.
Yeah, he may be short. And I think the bigger narrative here is Texas stayed in a 4-man front and dropped 8.
Takes their first charge timeout of the half. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 40 seconds. 4-0.
You know,
thank you.
When this drive was about to begin, going back to our conversation with Billy Napier, thinking, okay, where do you need to be at halftime? He felt like if we're within a score, well, guess what? They're not now. Okay. Levi Lewis needs something positive to happen. Be curious decision if it indeed stays at fourth down, and it looks as though it is.
Yeah, one of the things, though, in looking at Billy Napier's offenses, Tim, they have a natural arc to them, particularly in this 11 personnel package. As you get in the third and the fourth quarter, they're like those old West Coast schemes that we used to have. We had more come from behind victories in those quarters because we were using what we saw in the first half to set up the second half.
He's going to go. He's going to go. He is absolutely going to go on fourth down. And you know what? I think that was a good mark. Even though it was the left foot rather than right foot mark. Let's see what happens here. Fourth down. They need a half yard. Bouncing out and getting the first down, Montrell Johnson. And again, we go back to the conversation. In his mind, he needed his team to be within one score at the break.
Well, Texas came in still with 4 men on the front. They came in late with the pressure look, but they still were outnumbered. I'm really surprised that they're playing at that true.
Lewis, now this is what he can really do. We haven't seen this as yet today, but he does scamper for a first down. His legs are special. Overshown ushered him out of bounds, but not before the first down was picked up, and now they're in great shape, the Cajuns, at the 48-yard line.
Well, you remember what one of our takes was. For them, it was about cover and contain for Texas on the back end. They've got to be able to contain on those early downs. If they lose those early downs, then you start to get a little bit anxious, and Pete Kwiatkowski, who's about as good as it gets, has to start making some choices about affecting this quarterback before he gets the total breadth and width of the field at his disposal. And if that happens, then it gets really dangerous quickly.
Well, the decision-making here by The Ragin Cajuns indicates how important this drive really is.
Look at the patience.
Yeah, Lewis dumps it underneath and dropped it.
Just hit him in the face, man.
Yeah, Jacob Bernard. I mean, that's between the 8 and the 6. Didn't bring it in.
I don't know if this ball climbed on him and hit him in his face or not, but you got to, if you guys are sitting at home, watch this. Pluck your arms out. Don't let it come to your breastplate.
Yep.
You know, you got your knee involved in all of that. Put those arms, extend them so that if it does ricochet, it's going to bounce into you in your chest plate.
2nd and 10. 4 wides and a single back. That's Chris Smith.
Trips into the boundary.
Lewis.
Nice.
Again, finds the open receiver. It's Errol Rogers at the 30-yard line of Texas.
Such a wicked formation, man. And I like it that it's into the boundary, too. That's the short side of the field. And, you know, the good thing about that is if anything is going to happen, it's going to happen in a compacted space, as the timeout's called.
Well, they got a timeout. The ball's at the 31. You got to run something quick with time winding down here in the first half.
See those 3 guys bunched up right there, and then watch 6 split the difference. Run a vertical route to pull that safety corner out of there, and it opens up that underneath area.
Spencer, it would be a 48-yard try. Almendaris is more of a 35 to 45-yard guy. They can turn to Nate Snyder, who handles the kickoffs. He has kicked a 53-yarder. In fact, it was a game-winning field goal against Georgia Southern a year ago, but is not as consistent. He's 5 of 10 in field goal tries, but generally kicks the longer tries. And again, a reminder, the State Farm halftime show is coming up. Mike and the guys will be dissecting for you. I think Mr. Acho is there with Chris Peterson as well. They'll be documenting what's gone on elsewhere. I'm guessing one Acho is happy with the proceedings underway here.
Yes, sir.
In Austin. See what they can get off here in less than 7 seconds. Timeout. Taken by Louisiana.
Louisiana takes their second charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
You can't take them with you, right? You might as well go ahead and use them once you see the formation.
Now here's where Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, as Billy Napier looks on. After he diagnosed what he saw, are you going to chase goats? Are you going to change your defensive scheme based on something you really didn't see play out? That's the chess match that's taking place right now, Tim. And you got to stay what's gotten you here to this point, I would think, and trust the athleticism of your back end in particular. But believe me, that snapshot of what Billy Napier just saw gave him an opportunity to take advantage of a deep third of the field that Texas, to this point, has not adjusted to. So we'll see if he takes a shot outside the numbers on either side.
Remember, Texas deferred, so they get the ball to open the second half.
4 verticals. That means 4 wide receivers with short motion.
Whatever it is, it's got to be quick unless they go over the top for everything. It is quick, and it's caught inside the 30 to Johnny Lumpkin. Only 4 seconds off the clock.
Pass. Second down.
Oh, they ruled it incomplete.
Wow.
Going to say he was out.
Well, Ray Thornton, the outside linebacker, was there, and Coach Napier has got to be disappointed in that. He didn't get the look, and I tell you, the chess match, Pete Kwiatkowski won that because they dropped coverage, and then the soft underneath. You just got to pay attention to where you are, man.
Hang on a second.
Did it look like he was in?
I'd love to see another angle of that. This is a 48-yard try by Almendaris. This would be a stretch for him.
Well, they're going to look at it again, Tim.
Yeah, they should. Well, the first glance I took
takes their second charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds
to me, Texas took the timeout.
I'm not sure they wanted that. If they get a chance to take a look.
Let's take a look here from this angle. Yeah, okay. The heel does appear to be out. Yeah. From that angle, I get it. The angle we had before,
that left heel is out.
Yeah, the left heel was out as he brought the ball in, so that was a good call.
The right one is close. The left one is out.
The first one, I thought the angle we had, it appeared he might have been in, and then he hopped out. The whole foot has to be in bounds, and so that was a good call. Texas takes the timeout.
Well, you may be saying to yourself, why did they go to such a short route in that case? It was because the back end was blanketed.
Yeah.
Had like a four cross look back there. Here we go.
This would be the longest ever by Almendares if he connects. 48 yards. And he got it. A big field goal by Kenneth Almendares. And they get points, and they're within a score and a 2-point conversion at the break.
Well, it's on. That's what you want to do on the road against a storied program. It's had its lumps, but this one right there, he nails it, man. Keeps that head down and finishes, Tim. Kind of like you did on the 9-iron the other week. Just finish and go through it. Napier said,
yeah. That was a huge series for the psyche of his team, and he knows it because we barely saw Levi Lewis scratch the surface. Outstanding half here for Texas, though. They lead it by 8. Right now, let's get you back to Los Angeles. It's the State Farm halftime show, and we got the Sarge back there, Mike Hill.
I salute you very much, sir. Welcome to the State Farm halftime show. In our LA studios, we have got the former University of Washington head coach.
Football is sponsored by Geico. Here at halftime at Darrell K. Memorial Stadium, Texas, with its freshman quarterback, Hudson. He's got all the cards.
Yeah.
He's really been the goods in this first half, Spencer Tillman. No question about it. They lead Louisiana by 8. What say you to those snapshots that you were looking for in the first half?
Well, the picture's pretty. The way he's handled his card, this offensive scheme has been impressive. I mean, he's really placed the ball where it needed to be placed. The accuracy is there. And I think you have to say, in terms of the first half, he's acquitted himself as Steve Sarkowski. And you know, I think the thing that makes the difference here, Tim, is because he's accented his skill set. Everything that he does best, he's taken it to the next step. Ultimately now, Levi needs a better fit because this Texas Longhorn team has really stopped him from finding those voids that he has exploited for much of his career. They're just not there. So credit Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, for doing the best job there.
And let's take a look at our first half stats, brought to you by Geico. And again, the second quarter was owned by Texas. That's really the difference in the game. And this kick is going out of bounds, and that's not the way you want to start. Longhorns will open from their 35.
The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line.
Nate Snyder. Ball just went out right at the 1-yard line, right in front of the pylons. So Hudson Card will have outstanding field position to start the second half.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to how he's handled the first half, and each misstep, his confidence level is going to increase because of that 12th man, and that, of course, is Steve Sarkisian. He is the extension of his quarterback, and to this point, Tim, he's really dialed up play selection that accentuates his skill set, and we've seen him. He's placed the ball with accuracy on the one score in the touchdown against bracket coverage. He split the difference between the defenders. The deep ball is touched with accuracy, so he's doing a lot to showcase this young talent.
Bijan Robinson is in the backfield. As he made his cut, he almost stumbled. Now regathers himself, and look out. He's ahead to the 43. Almost lost his own footing, and then regathered, and Guerrer finally hauls him down after a pickup of 7 yards, maybe 8. Well, you know, Steve Sarkisian told us that Casey Thompson, who really did a marvelous job in their bowl victory, was very, very close. In fact, Sark called it the toughest decision he'd ever had to make in coaching. And in our conversation with him, he led us to believe that there would be an opportunity for him to play today. But right now, Card is just dealing really well. This pass is incomplete. Well defended by Guerrer, as Xavier Worthy was the intended receiver, the outstanding true freshman from Central East High School, Fresno.
Just keeping this Patrick Toney defense a little bit aware of the fact that they will take a deep shot down. Now, you have to do that from time to time. Again, that's going to keep the run game underneath, those crossing routes available to this young quarterback. I like the call.
3rd down and 2.
Now, this is a classic run conflict scenario. You can throw out of it, or you can pass out of it. And let's see, still in that four-man front, Tim.
And they pitch it to Bijan. And he's got the first down with ease. Just shy of midfield, Zion Hill with the tackle, number 4. Hill, all Sun Belt performer last year. And a young man that's got a great future, no question about it. Tallied 7 tackles in the First Responder Bowl. He's really a talent.
Not the tallest guy in the world, but very active. As you referred to him as a quick twitch guy. About 283. Very athletic.
Had 4 sacks a year ago. Wants to get more this season.
Oh, nice.
Pressure off the edge, but a miss. And there goes Card. He's finally hauled down from behind by Chauncey Manak.
Braylon Trahan, man, was the guy that was in there. Number 24 came from that weak safety position. And I'll tell you, it was impressive.
That's Trahan, 24, with the move right there.
He came from depth. Trahan is showing you some of the athleticism. He wish he had that one back, though. Overran his target.
Well, Manak gets the sack, the senior. Originally a transfer from Georgia, went there out of Homerville, Georgia. That was a loss of 4. That's also the 4th sack of the afternoon for the Cajuns.
This is the 12th man here. This is Sark changing the play at the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 14. Roshan Johnson. Tell you what, he's carrying a few Cajuns with him. That's a pickup of 3, so 3rd down and 11 coming up as Jaquan Nelson, 97, wrapped him up along with Kendall Wilkerson.
Now, if you notice, one of the things that Texas is trying to do is they're not huddling up. They're trying to get to the line of scrimmage to preserve time so that if they want to change the play, they can. Coming out in 4 wides, they're going to empty this backfield now with 5 by.
And Robinson at the bottom of your screen. That pass is caught, and it is Whittington again. And he's got a first down and more. All the way to the 12.
Braylon Trahan's the last guy that got him, Tim. But again, you have to go back to that formation. That's what won for you on that play. Here's the play here. The 3 wide up top, and there's 2 down at the bottom. Watch the innermost of the receivers on the out cut, out and up, and we're back in action now and show you this is what they're trying to go fast for. They're trying to use pace and tempo as a tactical advantage, and boy, it's working on everybody. There's the switch route underneath. Again, soft spot underneath in that zone. Great job of individual running after the catch. Impressive.
Robinson, a stutter step and a touchdown. Wow. His 2nd touchdown of the day, his first rushing.
Everybody's down blocking. You got that tight end coming back, and actually Robinson went outside of that block, and it's designed a trap, and he needs to go underneath that, but because of the fact that there's so much push up front, he found a second option and still got into the end zone. But when you can execute like that and not be your best and still score, that tells you you've got your A game going.
5th career rushing touchdown. Whittington breaking tackle after tackle, put them on the doorstep. And then it was Bijan all on, and the Horns lead by 15.
Welcome to Allstate. Shouldn't cost more.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate. Huge plays in that last drive, Spencer, going no huddle, and they had Louisiana on their heels, no question.
Yeah, that's what you don't want. You don't want Sark to be able to play the game from the sideline. He becomes the 12th man. When they're able to get to the line of scrimmage via no huddle, and he makes those plays, he's basically audibling for himself, getting it into his young quarterback who's taking those concepts and just run down the field so effectively, Tim.
Think about this. In the first quarter, UL actually had the ball for 7:58 to Texas is 7:02. Since that time, Texas has possessed the ball 14 and a half minutes to just 3:41 for Louisiana. Now, Smith will finally bring it out, and he is outstanding in the kicking game. He did step out that time. He was a good 4 yards deep. He was not going to allow for another touchback, but he does manage the 21-yard line. He is incredible in that area. Not many people have had as many kickoff returns coming out of high school and into college the way that young man has out of a very low classification school in Mississippi. Now this, Spencer, is a huge moment in the senior career of Levi Lewis, a young man that came into this game expecting to win and believing that, you know what, we've been here before. All right, the moment will not be too large for us.
Well, they got to fix that time differential that you just mentioned. I'm just sitting here with my mouth wide open. That's almost a fourfold advantage for Texas.
And with the heat of the day, you can bet that the Louisiana defense needs a break. They need this offense right now to hold on to the football and possess it for quite some time.
And I think, Tim, as this game continues to take the shape and form that it is, we got to start talking about Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator for Texas.
Yeah, he's done it again.
And then exactly what Sark has done in pulling those elite coaches from Alabama, bringing some of the best of what they have. And Kyle Flood, let's not ignore him. The offensive line coaches had a great deal to do with this success as well.
Amani Bailey now has moved into the backfield. Trips to the top of your screen. And it's Bailey. He's got quick capability at the line of scrimmage and can be a big game breaker. He gets 7 there. Arleon Overshone with the stop for Texas.
See, that's a huge win on that play because Texas was in a single high safety look. And what that means is when you just have one player standing back, well, those other bodies are closer to the line of scrimmage. So they populated that area to stop the run. But if you're able to get 7, there's going to be an opportunity for them to respond, and then that's when you hit them with play action.
Well, 3rd down and 3. It is 3rd and 3, not 2nd and 3. Looking for that elusive first 3rd down conversion. I think they're stop shy again.
Wow.
It's going to be 4th down and about a half yard.
Well, that is huge. Now, you got to wonder, it's one thing in the first half, you got a little bit of momentum, and Napier looks on to go for it on 4th down. But here, again, against the 4-man front that Texas has stayed in, they just shut him down.
Yeah, Bailey looks a little dinged up, too.
Impressive.
Bailey came off the field slowly.
DeAndre Coburn playing that true nose tackle, number 99. Just going nowhere.
0 for 6 on 3rd down, but they are 1 of 1 on 4th. Out of the shotgun. And they got the 1st down again. This time it's Montrell Johnson. So they're 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions. Luke Brockemeyer with the stop.
There's no fear in them, right? Backed up, they're still going to go for it. Man, that's impressive. I'm impressed by that, but they've got to find a way to open up. Billy Napier's about as sharp as you're going to get, right, in terms of play calling. You know, I hate to compare coaches in terms of what they do in skill set, but I think Sark is a little bit more sophisticated in some areas, as demonstrated with the courage to have a young quarterback play.
He's a big analytics guy, and so he followed that path and going for it on 4th down. Now there's Jacob Bernard ahead for 3. I'm sure at halftime he's telling his guys, look, you guys dropped passes, and Levi, you made some bad decisions.
Yep.
You know, you can play better than you had. That last drive that got them the field goal gave them a little mojo, only to have Texas get a short field after a kickoff that went out of bounds, and then Sarkisian's play calling duped UL, and they find themselves down 2 scores.
Napier trying to use some motion to try to get an edge on what's going on defensively.
2nd and 7. Seam route caught. 1st down, Neil Johnson.
That's good football right there now. I love that Neil Johnson, the tight end, playing a true Y technique, and you can get a vertical. There's a down Longhorn down here. Found a vertical seam in this coverage.
That's Deshaun Jameson that's down on the field.
Can't afford to lose him, and
he's an outstanding corner, all Big 12, and was a special teams player of the year a season ago. Just one of those freakish athletes that our friend Bruce Feldman talks about all the time. A check on the young man, the senior from Houston. Here's the tackle that has him still on the ground. We'll be right back.
Reggie Bush used to eat breakfast somewhere else, but then he tried Wendy's breakfast.
Are those fresh eggs?
5G.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Wendy's. official breakfast of NCAA football, and by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Ball is at the 44-yard line.
Timmy, here's that vertical look right here with the tight end. They're going to go fast, so we'll come back here.
We'll get back to that in a moment. On the rollout, they go right back to Neil Johnson, and he takes it down to the 40-yard line.
Yep, Billy Napier is starting to paint right here, the left, and then this play right here, the tight end is going to get vertical. There's a safety that moves up, and there's another safety in the middle of the field right on the top of Bebo. But the tight end does a great job of sitting that ball down, making it really deep and problematic for Brendan Schooler and company to come over from that strong safety position to defend. That is an excellent zone read by the tight end.
Neil Johnson got the job done there. And here's Montrell Johnson down to the 36-yard line on that carry. Picks up 3, third down and 2. So, yet another third down hill to climb for the Ragin' Cajuns.
Well, what you're seeing here, two fine coaching staffs. Obviously, we saw what Texas did in marching the ball down unimpeded. It appeared a little bit more methodical, but Billy Napier has still found his niche right here on this drive as well. First half adjustments, significant, effective. That lets you know that both these teams are well coached.
Also tells me that they still believe they don't have to fool anyone. They can just play their game and hang. Here goes Smith. Chris Smith with a first third down conversion of the day. And he comes at the 7:46 mark of the third quarter, a gain of 7.
Timmy, I think you're making a great point here because I've often said that confidence comes from demonstrated ability. When you can do what the Louisiana team is doing right now, consistently against a front four of Texas, that builds confidence.
They know that's the strength of the Texas football team up front, is that down 3. Smith again, the lone setback, out of the shotgun for Lewis. That's Dante Fleming in motion. They come back the other way with Smith, nothing doing. Stuffed. A lot of defensive help that time, a loss of a yard on the play as the Horns get the help.
A little bit different look there as Texas, what we call reduced down, and took one of the outside guys and put his hand up and out of the dirt. So now you got only 3 guys technically in a down alignment. That means you should be able to run more effectively from that.
That was Jacoby Jones that made the play, second down 11.
So same look, just shifted over, playing an under technique.
And there's Smith again. Got great speed. This is really the first opportunity he's had. Remember, this was an offense that got so much out of Trey Regis and Elijah Mitchell a year ago. They combined for over 1,600 yards and 18 touchdowns. They were 2 very large parts of this offense. And coming in, I think Texas thought, all right, we'll stack the deck and see if you feel like you've got a running game that can get downhill on us without those 2 guys.
You're starting to see those defenders get closer to the line of scrimmage. Now they've got a double A and B gap parties, and so they're going to flip the strength of this and run to the right side or throw to the right.
Earl Rogers in motion.
There they go.
In time. What a call by my partner. Chris Smith, touchdown. 27 yards.
What a beautifully designed series that was. I'm talking, that's Picasso kind of stuff right there. Football's equivalent to him. Billy Napier did a wonderful job of running away from the numbers and giving his quarterback just one read to make and to go opposite from the numbers. It's man coverage, you know it, because the guy mirrors what's happening with the motion man, and he just runs away from the numbers. And Smith taking some of that special team excellence and putting it in an every down capacity, that's impressive.
Well, Chris Smith got his wish as a running back, starting for the very first time. He's now more than just a big-time special teamer. Almendaris had to get the extra point, and they got a hand on it and blocked it. My goodness. Well, we saw that earlier today in the Penn State-Wisconsin game. A blocked extra point. It is early in the season. Smith gets in. UL a bit closer, but still 2 scores behind.
Innovation usually
Fox. Scoring drive, 12 plays, 79 yards. Exactly what the UL defense needed. The big play, obviously, though, was the blocked extra point, keeping it a 2-score game. This is Keandre Coburn, 99, with his big mitt. That's right in the middle of the defense. And Coburn made the play out of Houston, Texas, Westfield High School.
Yeah, he was one of the top tackles in all of America. And again, that's one that Texas needed to get. Here's an onside.
They went onside. Wow. And Texas recovers at the 36. Now, that time they went a little outside the box. It was recovered by B.J. Foster.
Make what you will of the decision. Definitely one has to be considering courageous. That's one of them. An excellent strike on the ball. Head down. Texas does a great job.
Number 23.
It's a good hands team maneuver, though, by
Foster. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the recovery. First down, Texas.
So on top of that, there's offsides. So to add to the misery index for Billy Napier, Texas now gets it on the plus side of the field at the 48-yard line of the Ragin Cajuns.
You know, it's kind of tough to see it here, but Jalen Ford, number 41, keeps his eye on the coverage unit to block somebody.
Yeah.
He's sitting right there by himself with the numbers, turns his attention. That's just smart football being played across. Texas ready.
Well, a lot of pressure now on the Cajun defense, and look at this. Robinson! BJ ahead for a big gain of 19, and that's Trey Ramos, 21, with the stop.
Coach Kyle Flood, offensive line coach, knows what he's doing, man. He's got a hat on every head. He's probably put that math diploma and degree to work to figure out what matchups are going to work for him, and he's got a back that will maximize his effort.
Well, he just ran right through the arm tackle of Pedesclo. That's safety. Robinson in the backfield, and he'll take it again. A little spin maneuver after the first contact made, but not much, only a yard. And he's stopped by Mekhi Garner, number 20.
Mekhi Gardner, the right cornerback. Man, you're talking about coming up for a guy that's he's not giving up too much weight. He's about 212. He's got good size for a cornerback, but he came up with some ill intention there, man. And be playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage. That's what you want him to be able to do.
Second down and 9. From the 28-yard line of Louisiana.
Sark's playing his game. He's sensing a little chum in the water down here. He's got 5 wide receivers here. Off coverage, going back to a bail. Got to get pressure. Here it comes.
And a little screener out to Robinson. Bijan's got it down to the 10. Ball's loose. Ball is loose at the 10-yard line. Ball came out just as he went to the turf, and I thought he may have hurt himself on the way down. Joshua Moore got on top of it to recover the fumble, and I was concerned about the way Robinson went down because he was in a position where you could have hyperextended that leg. Watch how he falls to the turf, Spencer.
Yep.
Ball does come free. That is a fumble. And watch how he comes down, though.
The ruling on the field is the runner was
those
down
Cajuns
prior
were
to the
on
ball
top of him.
loose. First down, Texas.
Joshua Smart. It was just a smart.
Yeah, this is tough, though. This is really, really tough to see. You know, arguably the best running back in the country, certainly close. Terrible. His talent is through the roof good, and he's having a hard time here.
He's going to shake that off if he can, man.
Well, that's good news.
We saw Minnesota lose Muhammad Ibrahim.
Yeah.
And he's an elite runner as well. You're talking about a difference maker. This guy's a catalytic player. Everything changes when he's not healthy.
Yeah, that's the recovery by Moore.
And Moore's heads up on his part to be there when he needed to be.
That clearly was a fumble, no doubt about it.
Now, see, it depends on how quickly he can get back in the game, Tim. You know, people think coaches are anal when they try to protect the status of a player. Let me tell you something. This guy right here being out of the lineup changes everything immediately.
Particularly when the field shrinks as it does down here, right?
Absolutely. Options are going to get limited, and this is the type of young quarterback that, although he's been impressive today, you don't, at this stage, think the playbook is going to expand for him. That's usually for guys like Levi Lewis, his counterpart.
Well, Robinson's out. He's had a 19-yard run, a 19-yard catch on this drive alone. Roshan Johnson stopped, buried right at the line of scrimmage at the point of attack.
So you can't deploy Bijan Robinson out in the formation to make the inside of this tackle-to-tackle structure weaker. You can't put some full player out there. You got to literally make them respond to what you do. If you go 5 wide, empty backfield, and put him out there, Sark is going to try to find a way to suffice and make up for the fact that he's got his best player out of the lineup.
Shotgun formation. Brewers coming to the game at tight end.
They're outnumbered here, Tim.
And here goes Johnson again inside the 5, down to the 3. So 3rd and goal. This is a huge 3rd down for the Louisiana defense as they try to hang in this game.
Let's see what Sark has. He's consulted with Kyle Flood, his offensive lineman, and the line coach.
Look at the numbers on card, Spence. 14 of 21, 224, 2 touchdowns. That's a great debut for any freshman. Johnson, the lone setback. It's called. It's touchdown. How do you do? Just a brilliant play call.
Well, I stand corrected. I mean, he made you play left-handed because I didn't think he would give it to the freshman down here inside like that, man. Zone read, he was lethargic with it, kind of laissez-faire, kind of stuck it out there. I'm not going to run it. Boom! It just takes off, man. That is so heads up. Love this kid.
We had a wonderful chat with him yesterday. He seemed very calm, up to the moment, but admitted that he could be a bit nervous being under the gun for the very first time. This young man may indeed, dare I say, have Texas back. I know we've heard it before, but right now, it's looking good.
You Think You Know Rose Namayo, premiere September 22nd on Fox.
Vince Young, Colt McCoy. When Texas was great, championship caliber, could it be that this young man, it was Sam Ehlinger, now with the Colts, of course, who said Hudson came out of the womb spinning the football. and he looks like he's been there and done that in day one as a starting quarterback for Texas.
Yep.
And another touchback as Dicker gets the job done as we look at the touchdown. And again, as you said, he had this one in his hip pocket, partner.
He sure did, Tim. And as I said in the break, he who is skilled with the use of a sword but chooses rather to keep it sheathed shall inherit the wind. This young man right here, along with that guy, Steve Sarkisian, knows how to keep those little nuggets in your back pocket until you need them. I mean, and those trio, by the way, of quarterbacks that you showed, one of the things that they all have in common is the ability to create outside of the structure of the offense, and that means in the red area. Any place where you need a little extra something, you can count on them.
Amani Bailey is in the backfield behind Levi Lewis. He only gets a yard, maybe 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Well, Spencer, going back to Sark, he said, I got a call after 2018. And I thought to myself, I'm going to be a head coach again one day. I will. But it wasn't the right opportunity. He had 2 or 3 back in 2019, and he chose to wait. And then when this job opened up, he thought, man, this could be the place that you call a destination, where if you're successful, you retire there. Play fake, and Lewis with plenty of time.
Nope.
Incomplete. And he's fortunate it wasn't intercepted. You're right. That was Barron, 23, who was in position to possibly come away with a pick. Errol Rogers was the intended receiver.
And today, Barron, number 23, as you said, Tim, was sitting back there squatting, waiting for that deep over to open. And again, you have to credit what Pete Kwiatkowski is doing, being able to read and not allow those deep third quarter field routes to burn him, because they have done it. Lincoln Riley gets credited for that. Takes a while if you can protect the quarterback long enough, but boy, if you know how to defend it, Texas has got a great mind to help him.
Cajuns on 3rd and 8. Lewis is sacked. Down he goes at the 21. Ogofu, number 18. Obi Ogofu. That's the 5th Texas sack of the afternoon. And a punt formation coming up for the Ragin Cajuns.
Nice dog, a stunt. It's a blitz is basically what it is. I bet you guys didn't know that Bevo wasn't the first mascot of Texas. It was an American Pit Bull Terrier. It truly was back in the early days. That's what that blitz looked like. It was a dog off the corner on the edge. Got to your quarterback.
And flagged down as they were preparing to punt Reese Burns. I believe it was pre-snap. Tuta Salam coming over to get word from his
Prior to the ball being snapped, Texas takes their first charge timeout of the half. There is no foul on the play.
So a quick timeout was taken. So while they take that timeout, a reminder that coming up next, those in Louisiana will be getting some back-to-back action from home state teams. LSU at Orgeron's Bunch, and a core of about 25,000 Bengal fans will be in the Rose Bowl as the sun sets over the St. Gabriels. It was all coming up, and I'm one of those that believes that the man with three names for UCLA quarterback, the multi-threat quarterback, could give Coach O and the LSU Tigers quite a game at the Rose Bowl. What do you think of Dorian Thompson-Robinson's chances?
I love him. I think he's very skilled. I think you're right. They've got a lot of skill position players that have had a year to season and mature, but Coach O's hitting reset. I wouldn't put him away.
No, he's got a Joe Brady disciple coming in to run his offense and a brand new defensive coordinator as well. How about that roll? How about that punt?
Took a little
beautiful job there by
hard right turn.
Reese Burns, young man from Australia, just booted one 63 yards, and given the circumstances and the score and time remaining in the game, something Louisiana needed.
Well, he set that one right by the Bobby, didn't he?
He did. He really did. First time that LSU, by the way, has ever played at the Rose Bowl. And UCLA, if you think about it, they're giving away free tickets, not just to their students, but to everybody. Casey Thompson's going to come into the game now. So we'll get a chance to see the son of a gentleman that you know all too well from your days at Oklahoma.
Charles Thompson, Timmy, he was one of the fastest guys I've ever seen, just quick as a hiccup.
Roshan Johnson and Bijan Robinson are in the backfield with Casey.
Casey had a heck of a Alamo Bowl last year.
And there goes Robinson again.
Good to see him healthy.
Quick feet, yeah, sure is. I was concerned for him when he went down. More so than the potential of losing the football on a fumble. It was the way he landed that was problematic.
Now, this is a smart decision right here, in my opinion, because in this era of transfer portals and fragile minds and emotions, Sarkisian understands, got his finger on the pulse of what he's dealing with here.
Well, RPO opportunity here for Roshan Johnson, and he's out for the first down to the 29. Haven't seen quite as much of that with Hudson Card, but know this, no one uses the RPO in run play action any more than Sarkisian.
Well, he's brilliant at it. And again, I think the thing I like about it is he's going to run it with the guy who gives him the best chance to succeed with it. I mean, he can run it with anyone. You look at the skill set of Hudson Card, he can do some of these things athletically. You just don't want to expose him to those risks this early in his career.
By the way, Robinson 160 yards total, 87 rushing, 73 receiving today. Keelan Robinson in the backfield now. And the transfer is ahead to the 35-yard line. Keelan came with Sark by way of Alabama. So there's not just a Robinson and a Johnson, but now another Keelan Robinson. A lot of depth with this Texas team. They have taken command here in the second half and lead by 16. The fourth quarter is coming up.
It's time to win $1 million on Fox.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Geico. Spencer, let's take a look at our credible team comparison.
Timmy, I like these numbers. They're very impressive. Again, Texas really in the second half took over things. They obviously made their first half adjustments and came out, as did Louisiana. But I think Texas has a command now, even with this second quarterback. They're on to something here.
Keelan Robinson with a stretch play. Turns it back up, and I think that's enough for the first down. Gain of 5 and a first down.
Timmy, I talked about the decision-making by Steve Sarkisian and bringing in Casey Thompson to balance this thing out, just from the standpoint of making sure you keep everybody happy. And this guy right here does everything right. He's an academic All-Big 12 first-team member in 2020, 6-time member of the Big 12 Commissioners Honor Roll. He does everything right off the field, so you got to give a chance to a guy like that.
Replaced Dellinger, you might recall, in that Alamo Bowl after he got hurt. And there's Robinson. Gain of only a yard that time to the 40. And, when you're a Longhorn for life, Dellinger was. That's pretty outstanding when you think about it. And going late in the draft, I think he may have gone to just the right location, too, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. I will say this, and this is just what they pay us to do. I have an opinion. I say what I see. I think maybe too much of the offense ran through Ehlinger.
Yeah.
I think that they probably could have done some things, some other skill plays to take some pressure off of him. He had a great career here, but I think there was more opportunity there.
Thompson with a flag down back at the line of scrimmage. Pass was intended for Cade Brewer, the tight end.
It doesn't matter what they do with this scheme or which quarterback is in. That deep third corner, slow developing, shallow crossing route is not going to be there.
Yeah, preliminary indication is holding.
But Tim, the reason why you get these holding calls is because you're trying to run plays that take a long time to develop.
Holding. Number 78. Offense. The penalty is declined. Third down.
It was Okafor that was
Denzel
penalized.
Okafor.
Yeah, it was Okafor. Now, they have had some holding penalties. They can coach up their offensive line with that. They declined the penalty to set up third down.
That time they got the redshirt senior. Usually you don't expect it from those leaders up front, but again, it's the type of play you're running. Those guys want to protect their quarterback, and they get a little bit handsy if the ball is not released.
That should tell you how badly they want to get off the field, their defense right now, to decline a holding penalty. Thompson under duress now.
Nice job.
He decides to let it fly, and it's caught. First down. That's Whittington. He has been targeted more than any other Longhorn today in the passing game. That is his 6th target of the day. Look at that. Keelan Robinson. There's a little stop and go and an extra gear in there for him.
Well, this series is just beautiful, man. So many outstanding plays being made on this series. Some of it, this is the one where the coaches sit down and they just will salivate over, Timmy. Here you can see the ball seated properly in the right hand, gets vertical, bounces out to the outside, resets the ball, makes another guy miss.
There were too many.
That's excellent running.
I'll tell you something else, Spencer. What you notice is not only is Sark finding his way with this scheme, regardless of who the quarterback might be, but now the fatigue really wearing on UL. This is a team that's been playing a lot of defense for a lot of minutes today, and Billy Napier's team is gassed. They called too many men on the field, but it was declined by Texas, and that's what Napier was talking about. Robinson ahead, inside the 15 to the 14, a gain of 5.
Yeah, Tim, you make a great point about Steve Sarkisian being such an intelligent coach. He's plug and play right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. As long as you've got a core suite of skills, he can put any quarterback in there to run this offense.
Safety valve, Whittington. Look at that. It's a touchdown. Jay Witt gets it in again. Dicker for the extra point.
Wow. Hey, lucky to get that one handled.
Yeah, that was a bad snap. Managed to get it up. Fire the cannon, ladies and gentlemen. Whittington takes it in. Now Casey Thompson leads his team down for a touchdown. Texas looking good in Sark's debut.
Flavor gets its wings.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Pacific Life. More than 150 years strong. Protect what matters most. That is a tired group right there, Spencer.
Yep. That right
play a lot of football and were on the field a lot longer than they wanted to be, really from the second quarter on.
Yep, they did a fine job. Did Texas taking advantage of those tired guys? I mean, they was like a lizard panting on a hot rock over there earlier, man. They tongues hanging out.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot.
And remember how warm it is. I mean, and I know it gets hot with a lot more humidity, really, in the Acadianas.
Yep.
But 96 degrees, and it was scorching when we came in the booth. Dante Fleming is back deep. Another speed merchant, and he'll let this one go as Dicker forces yet another touchback. But Jordan Whittington, what a performance he's had. 110 yards receiving, a career high. Last year against Oklahoma, his previous high of 65 yards. He's had 6 receptions for 110 yards in today's game.
All of these players are really benefiting from an effective system and a brilliant mind. And Steve Sarkisian, efficient systems, they tend to take input from different people, right? And they produce results. And you can plug and play. I mean, it's just no different like a Henry Ford. You develop the process, and then anybody can have success with it.
I can certainly see now why Hudson Card did win the job.
You bet.
Even though it was a difficult choice for him to make. Errol Rogers takes it to the wide side of the field from Levi Lewis. Anthony Cook, the nickelbacker, out of Lamar High School in Houston with the tackle, a 7-yard gain, 2nd and 3.
Yeah, I know we're talking about offense now for Louisiana, but I think Texas, with Sarkisian calling the plays and everybody having success that gets under center, can get back to that factory status quicker than most people thought they would.
Lewis again throws one a bit too high today. Jalen Williams, when he's missed today, it's been high and wide. And I think Kwiatkowski's defense has something to do with it. But also, he had a lot of drops in the first half too, Spencer.
He did. He had 3 drops. And, Tim, the thing I'm noticing is he's not been able to go over the top and really exploit. He's had some seam, some wide seam, some intermediate stuff available, but he's really not been able to take the top off of this offense. And so here's a case where you got a single safety deep high, so they're defending the run now. Single safety, 9 men around the line of scrimmage.
And they defended the run well, but Smith burrowed ahead for the first down.
And that's pretty, look, when you've got a single high safety, you can still run the ball against that front. That's pretty impressive.
Well, he's short again. They marked him. Boy, they're going to go on 4th down again.
Wow.
They only got 2 yards out of that. I thought for sure he had the first down. Well, they're 2 out of 2 on 4th.
They got to run in the middle if they do it.
Try it again.
Wow.
And it's a pass, quick out to Jalen Williams. They're still perfect on 4th down, but have not been able to get short yardage. And I think in the end, Spencer, when the game is over, when you talk to Billy Napier, it'll be, we could not consistently run the football the way we're accustomed.
No question about it.
That's been the key.
Yeah, because that's how you affect numbers, right? You make them defend the run.
I mean, this is a downhill team. Yeah, they spread it out, but they are accustomed.
That's the route they've been looking for right there.
Jalen Williams on the receiving end has it down to the 31-yard line.
Theoretically, that route, it takes so long. He hadn't had the time as Levi to wait on it to develop. That time he did. He's been getting happy feet occasionally. That's because of Pete Kwiatkowski's defensive scheme has allowed that front 4 to get pressure on him without blitzing. And when you can do that, those late developing routes are really not going to be home runs.
Really, the only thing that they've done that you'd consider abnormal was the onside kick.
Yep.
Other than that, they've gone toe-to-toe with the notion that they didn't have to surprise anyone to compete. Just have not executed the way they normally would. That pass falls incomplete for Smith.
They tried the middle screen there, Tim, and a lot of bodies there. Smith probably should have had that ball, and who knows? Those things tend to look ugly but they tend to be jailbreaks, and Billy Napier knows it. If you can get and sift through there, guys start reaching, and you can bust really big plays. But the key is, it looks like it's chaotic, but man, if you can get it seated properly by the receiver, you can make some big plays.
Second down and 10.
No
well, it looked like there was movement prior at the line of scrimmage. No flag, and I thought certainly there was an offsides or a false start.
On the far side of the field, way up top.
Earl Rogers was the intended receiver.
Well, the flag shouldn't have come from up there, though. Yeah. He should have come from
in the line of scrimmage. You would have thought the umpire would have had it.
Offside, number 3, defense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Yeah, Jacoby Jones got in there. So 5 yards down to the 28-yard line.
Jones will come out, think about it a little bit, get him a little agua.
Chris Smith remains in the backfield. Haven't called Dante Fleming's name at all today. Now we do. He has it at the 30. And close to the first down. Maybe about a half-yard shy as Anthony Cook made the tackle.
Tim, is another thing I'm seeing that what Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator for Texas, is doing effectively. Whether it's Jacoby Jones at outside linebacker, Ray Thornton, any of those guys that are on the edges, or even some of the guys up front, they are containing the quarterback.
The quick bubble screen out to Kyron Lacey. His first catch of the day. That was, by the way, enough for the first down on the play to Fleming, so we've got second down coming up after a gain of 4.
Yeah, and when you're talking about containing the quarterback, Billy Napier knows his guy's asset is being elusive. But if you've got containment proper, you're going to flush him up the field, and then we got a lot of underneath bodies that are able to curtail his otherwise explosiveness. A little sneaky blitz.
Play fake, and they go with a quick out to Lacey again. Kyron Lacey gets free.
Wow, how about
inside the 5, touchdown. 19 yards to Kyron Lacey, the freshman from Thibodaux, Louisiana.
Usually those big plays like that, when you blitz from that side of the field, particularly when it's a short side, you better replace really quick. And watch the pressure. It's a little corner cap blitz. Number 9's coming in underneath, makes one big guy miss, but you better replace. You're asking a linebacker to go deal with the wide receiver. That's a mismatch. Great job of selecting that play into the boundary, the short side of the field. A lot of traffic over there, Tim, but sorting it out.
Well, you can bet that this UL team is not going to go and fold. It's not their makeup. They're a championship caliber team. They'll go for 2 here. Smith in the backfield. They go with the fade, incomplete. Intended for John Stevens, the transfer. Could not reel it in. So the score remains 35-18. Timeout. 9:31 remaining.
New customers get our best deals on
12 on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Brian Mitchell. Jake Delhomme, who later would play in a Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers and, of course, an original New Orleans Saint. And that young man right there, quarterback Levi Lewis, that's a young man that asked Brian Mitchell for the right to wear his number. It had not been worn, Spencer,
30 seconds
since Brian had left. A timeout, by the way, was taken by Texas before the kick. But that really tells me a lot as you see Kyron Lacey being congratulated. And listen, that was a very important drive just for the health and well-being mentally of this Ragin' Cajuns team. But we touched on Sark and the Saban connection, what it meant to him. But Billy Napier, think about this. This is a guy that was working with Dabo Swinney and got let go.
Yeah.
And was scraped up as an analyst by Nick Saban, and he thought that he went through an epiphany at that time. And I loved what he had to say. He said, I was a young coach. I knew what I wanted to do, but I was probably, I needed to recenter myself a little bit. I think getting fired by Coach Sweeney was the best thing that could have happened to me. I may have been a little arrogant. I needed to wind it back a notch. And Saban gave him that opportunity, and then lo and behold, his career took off all over again.
And he's still fairly young, and that can
42.
happen. 42 years of age. That can happen to you, man, when you've been put out to pasture by some of the elite coaches that you just named. That's pretty darn high cotton right there now. There's onside.
There it is. And once again, quickly speared out of the air by Joshua Moore. The Hands team took care of it there. Well, our Pacific Life game summary, sponsored by Pacific Life, more than 150 years strong. Protect what matters most. Bijan Robinson led the way, and certainly Hudson Card was up to the task of being a freshman starter.
Yep, and then Hudson, of course, kind of countered that and then gave him some ability to take the pressure off. And then, of course, Levi just couldn't find the proper fit, shall we say. Meantime, Texas did. Okafor and company early and often, trouble containing him, not a problem today. That guy right there is the future, man. Great skill set. Card Hudson acquitted himself. 14 of 21, 224 yards, a couple of touchdowns. That's not bad for a freshman.
Whether it's his first or his last name.
Yep.
It's in the cards for him, don't you think? There's Keelan Robinson ahead to the 49-yard line of Louisiana. 17-point cushion right now. I'd like to ask you about the decision that was made after the score at 21-12 that Napier made to go on sides there. That's Angelo that's that's down on the field, by the way. If we take a commercial, I'll get your response. I think that was the one critique I might have was putting the game on the line at that point. We'll talk about it when we come back. Hope the young man is okay.
Tasha, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on Fox?
Well, Angelo is being helped there along the sidelines for Texas. Hope he's okay. Second down and 10 coming up. We touched on, as we were going to break, Spencer, the decision after the blocked extra point, still plenty of time in the third quarter by Napier, and he elected to go with the surprise onside to try to get a possession back. Well, thought we were going to have
left tackle. He just got a little.
He got
that corner cat blitz scared him a little bit.
He did, and he moved in the aftermath of it.
Yeah, Christian Jones, his left tackle, just stuck his hand out there.
Offside. Number 16. Defense.
Wow.
Elevated
They
to the
called Washington instead.
5-yard penalty. Second down.
Oh, I didn't see that coming now.
Yeah, I thought he got back, and then there was movement after that by Jones. I'm with you. So it's second down and 5. Robinson in the backfield. How about that little jitterbug, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, he's special. His instincts are just incredible. Washington rides him out of bounds. Listen, I just wanted to get your thoughts on it because Napier said to us, we're not going to try to, we feel like we've got a team that can go in there, play our game, and not do anything special or try to surprise anyone. I thought that was the one time that he chose to go away from that. And it was after the blocked extra point on the touchdown.
One of the Art of War reminds us that no plan survives first contact. And I think about, it's a next level example, but the Saints don't beat the Colts in the Super Bowl if they don't go to onside.
That's true. That's a very good point. Yep. Very good point. That, by the way, that run got Robinson over 100 on the ground. He's got 102 now as Whittington makes his 7th catch of the day. That's a great point. And you know what? As I recall, Sean had that play in mind for the entire game. He just didn't know when he was going to run it.
Again, you kind of have an idea of how things are supposed to play out.
Yeah.
But they don't always unfold that way, and you got a sense of what you're doing well and what you're not. And that guy right there just is about as smart as it gets. And I hear it's a great take. I mean, thanks for the setup because it's a great point to think about. Because there's a lot that these coaches going through their minds.
Keelan Robinson, the ball came on the ground, but he was able to recover. Good hit there as Louisiana set the edge. One of the things Bijan Robinson did today, Spencer, that I really didn't anticipate was he got to the edge. Louisiana's been outstanding at setting the edge defensively. That was a quality hit that sprung that ball loose by A.J. And it's 3rd down and 8. Twin backs, Keelan Robinson, Bijan Robinson.
As this is more of a conservative front here, this is 2 backs.
And Bijan, nothing doing this time.
Yep.
Whistled down by Zion Hill, number 4.
They're trying to run this clock out. I mean, you can tell by formation. If they pop something, they do, but they're not trying to gut them, that's for sure. Smart. Get your guys some reps. Try to get out of here with the win. You can keep the ball away from them. You know, you showed that Jake Delhomme highlight a minute ago, or just the image of him reminded me of '96. Remember the upset they had against A&M, I think?
Yeah.
That was a big game. Probably the biggest one for the Louisiana.
Hudson Card is holding. And back in the game for Cameron Dicker. He drove that, no problem this time. He pushed one earlier in the game. But Dicker, the kicker, is back on target. And the lead is 20.
Jake from State Farm.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Cadillac and by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Well, coming up on College Football Extra, presented by Crypto.com. Our guys will be taking a look at a very active day with Mike Hill and Chris Peterson, Emmanuel Acho, all back there ready to go as soon as we're done and get you ready for LSU and UCLA. Or as my friend Dino Cook used to say, LSU and UCLA.
Haven't they suffered enough?
Yeah, he couldn't pronounce the letter L. God rest his soul. Would have been 90 this past week. And the kick goes through the end zone for a touchback. By the way, you were talking about Jake Delhomme. It was 96.
Yep, that's what I thought.
And he quarterback there from 93 through 96. His coach, the late Nelson Stokely, who played in 96. Nelson had him. And, of course, Brandon Stokely, his son, played with Peyton Manning on the Super Bowl team in Indianapolis, was a freshman on that team. And Nelson was a great quarterback for Charlie McClendon at LSU. Went on to become a great coordinator at Clemson, among other places, and was hired by Terry Don Phillips, the former athletic director at then Southwestern Louisiana, USL, it was called back then. That pass by Lewis incomplete.
And see, that kind of latent pressure right there is something that Levi's been dealing with all game long, and it's really been disruptive. It was not a play that was designed to be a long developing pass, but that's the kind of pressure that would impede or at least discourage you from trying some of those shallow crossing routes that take a while to develop.
And you were right, by the way. That team did beat Texas A&M.
Yeah, 96. I remember the goalpost coming down, man.
Which until the Iowa State win last year was the biggest win, arguably the biggest win the school had ever had.
I think you're absolutely right.
2nd down and 10. Empty backfield for Lewis. And Levi again goes underneath. He's had to do a lot of that today.
That's going to be a personal foul right here, Tim, to the quarterback.
Yeah, he got leveled, didn't he?
Yeah.
He really did.
But again, that's just indicative of the consistent pressure that has been on Levi tonight. And it seems like it's increased as the game has worn on.
It was a 7-yard gain.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 9, defense. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
That's against Josh Thompson. By the way, here it is again. Way late.
Yeah, you know what I will say to his credit, it was late, but you know at least he attempted to put that head on the right side. And
wasn't vicious, but it was way late.
Oh, no question.
First down 10, ball at the 47-yard line. Again, shallow cross to the tight end, Neil Johnson. And he slides down on the seat of his pants into Texas territory at the 39.
Now you see the difference between that shallow cross and some of those ones that come more at a 45-degree angle. This is flat, right? And he's going to take a ride at the end of it. You got a better timing. You know, like Bijan Robinson, you got to take a class from that guy because he just jump right over you and make you miss everything, you know.
Chris Smith back in the game. Right behind Levi Lewis.
A little pistol formation.
And they go to Smith, who's corralled at the 37-yard line, a couple of yards. And that's Obi Ogofu with the stop. A man that spent some time at Notre Dame out of the state of Michigan, now playing here at Texas. Over the middle, that rented that one, didn't he? Lewis, beautiful pass to Kyrie Lacey.
Excellent placement on his back shoulder. And I was about ready to say before that completion to Lacey, I think in the aggregate, this receiving core, Tim, that had every wide receiver and tight end in the rotation back again, had not really done well today. But they're moving it now.
Yeah, they are. And there's Smith again. Barrels ahead to the 16-yard line as Overshown made the stop. They're looking like the downhill running team that really, I think, everybody on their staff, the coordinators, Michael Desormo, I beg your pardon, and Tim Leger, who help with down and distance situations while Billy Napier calls the plays. They're looking like what they thought they would be here in the latter stages. Texas. Bailey on the curl, lost the ball. It's loose. On the ground, a lot of Longhorns around it, too. A lot of Texas Longhorns around it. Bailey got that back. Trust me, he was outnumbered. There were 3 Longhorns all around him.
Good luck getting them cleared away.
Texas. And it is Texas, yeah. That was Bailey was outnumbered, outarmed. And the Horns do come away with it. Jalen Ford, 41, it appeared to be the guy.
Thompson is the guy that came out of there with the ball.
Might have been Thompson, too. Yeah. Like I said, he was outnumbered. There were, you see all of them, there were like 4 or 5 Longhorns. They're going to credit, it was Dunn that made the hit, 4. Darian Dunn that forced the fumble. That's the first turnover of the game by either team.
How about that?
Jaron Thompson is going to be credited with the recovery, it appears.
Yeah, I thought it was Thompson. Again, he came out of there faster than everybody else did. And usually that means I want to keep this ball.
Yeah.
But Dunn, Thompson combining. You know, we talked about attacking the ball on defense, how important it was to get turnovers and alternately not create them on the offensive side of the ball. That's a big difference maker. I know on the next level, if you are ahead 2 or more in the turnover category, you're going to win about 87% of the games. It's one of the greatest, most consistent leading numbers in the game.
Well, Napier, as we mentioned, I think at the very top of the show, is 9-0 as head coach when he gets 2 takeaways. 9-0. Robinson. Keelan Robinson this time. Percy Butler comes over to make the tackle, the junior from Plaquemine, Louisiana.
I love the way he just sifts through there, man. These guys are well-coached, instinctive runners.
By the way, Spencer, that Yankees-Mets game next week, what a 9/11 20th anniversary of sport on our air next week.
I was anchoring at the ABC affiliate when the Subway Series started all those years ago, man, and there's nothing quite like it, Tim.
Yeah, and then you and I will cap the day with the latest primetime Pacific Coast time game ever on Fox Sports at 10:30 Eastern time. It'll be USC and Stanford. Stanford took it on the chin today at Jerry World against Kansas State. And the Trojans playing San Jose this afternoon. That game started a little while ago. But the Trojans are a team that believe that this could well be their year. But that will be the 4th sporting event on that day. We begin with Oklahoma, Nebraska.
Yeah, it'll be big, man.
50th anniversary of that game. Then Texas A&M. Another SEC game on Fox. They'll be playing Colorado.
There are 2 fouls
They'll
on
be
the
playing
play.
Colorado.
Holding, number 78, offense. That penalty is declined. Holding, number 3, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
And that'll be on Okafor, and that will back them up. But that's a heck of a day. That's a heck of a day for any network, and
it really is.
Proud to be a part of it with you at the Coliseum. Speaking of the Rose Bowl, let's see who just arrived. Well, there he is. He's like, I used to be the enemy over USC. I learned a lot. I've made a better man out of it. Coach O. Well, coming up next, right here on Fox, Joe Davis, Brock Hewitt, and Bruce Feldman will have it for you. Keelan Robinson stymied at the 10-yard line.
I hosted an event for Coach O, Timmy. He was the life of the party.
Oh, he's tremendous.
Louisiana
heck of a guy.
First charge timeout of the half.
We talk about a guy that went through a great deal to get where he is as a head coach. I mean, he was dead and buried as a head coach when he was fired at Ole Miss.
Yep.
And interestingly, you know who's on the sidelines tonight with him and has been a mentor of his for many years, the old USC legend, John Robinson. John has been an expert analyst for him. Of course, you think of John McKay, but I think after that you think of John Robinson and the great teams in the 80s, Marcus Allen, Charles White and company. In the late 70s and 80s, those were John Robinson's guys, and Ed Orgeron turned to them and still listens to them, talks to them daily.
Yep.
And even though last year was 5-5 and didn't work out, they got a little mojo from the end of the year with that win at Florida, and Max Johnson's going to be their starting quarterback. It'll be a great game tonight.
Absolutely. Accolades in order for all of those guys.
Roschon Johnson now is in the backfield. Good penetration by the Ragin Cajuns, but he jitterbugs his way up to about the 14-yard line. So it'll be a punt formation coming up with just over 2 minutes remaining.
Louisiana.
Dicker will come in to punt the ball away. When you say the kicker, Cameron Dicker, he's doing all the chores now. Field goals, kickoffs, punting. You know, Bachevsky missed the final 3 games with an ACL that he suffered against West Virginia. And the Australian has not been able to make it back. It's almost like Dicker will be a kicker that we will be talking about as a 20-year senior. Sort of a Russell Erxleben style going back to the New Orleans Saints first pick way back in 1980. He was a punter.
Back on us
he
now.
was a punter and a kicker, was Erxleben. I made a few Vero Beach trips with Bum Phillips teams as a cup reporter when Russell Erxleben was.
I thought you were going to George Blando on me. Yeah. You know, quarterbacks, punters, kickers.
Could do it all. Dicker will punt it away.
Wow, what a highlight.
Yeah, Guerra forced a call for the fair catch at the 33-yard line.
And Timmy, we would be remiss if we ended this broadcast without this, you know. You talk about honors and awards. I'm telling you, man, I told people before that Tim Brando doesn't fit into a category. He creates one, man. So happy to be there on your behalf and others at the Hall of Fame. You went in. Hey, man, we were celebrating. I was smiling on tiptoes of anticipation with you. That's the only time I got a chance to speak more than you did, right?
You're too much, man. You are too much.
Take a smile back here, baby.
Oh, goodness
Take
gracious.
A smile.
Oh, you guys here too. Oh, good. Thank you, man. It was great having you there that night. And I was really honored.
That's Jake the Snake, man, all the way, our producer.
Chris Smith is ahead to about the 38-yard line.
I was just wondering if you were going to stop talking to give me an opportunity to salute you. We almost ran out of time.
Touché. Family says thank you.
No, you deserve it. You've earned every bit of it, Timmy. Seriously.
Well, I got to tell you, it makes for reflection. It definitely does that. And when you get to be 65, you're going to have those sort of lifetime achievement awards thrown your way. And, but to have it happen at home first in my state means a great deal to me. Chris Smith takes the little safety valve and gets it ahead to about the 47-yard line. We'll call it a gain of 6.
That was one of the great lessons my missionary mom used to tell us, that when your family speaks well of you, you know that you've done your job. And so I know you've always been a family guy, man. We always put family first. Terry and those wonderful girls, and now the grandkids.
Yeah, big time.
That's special to you. We know
I'm now I may be a Hall of Famer, but I'm fourth string at home. There's an out pattern that is incomplete, but thanks for that. I really do appreciate it. And by the way, while speaking of Louisiana, my home state is really struggling right now, especially down around New Orleans and surrounding area, that area below, around Lake Grand Isle and throughout that entire area. And our statistician and content coordinator, Scott Alexander, barely made it here. Many thanks to him. He's been doing so much for us for so many years, and it was a struggle for him to just get here. And I thank my lucky stars for his making it, and wish all the best to those as they try to recover yet again from yet another hurricane.
And Tim, if my math is still correct, and our hearts are with the folks in Louisiana, the really footnote to this game is number 4, number 1, and in particular number 1's numbers in the rushing department. He was a negative 4 yards rushing as of 4 plays ago.
Right.
And that speaks to how effective this Texas rush has been on the outside.
It has been. Yeah. Trying to make something happen here late. Oh, what a great extension right there by Jalen Williams. He high-pointed that one beautifully.
I'll tell you, if there's a little bit more than that, the complexion of this game is different.
Well, they have more first downs now than Texas, 23-20.
How about that?
But on the scoreboard, the Longhorns made the bigger plays and controlled this game defensively, especially in the second and third quarters. Williams with another catch as they try to make it look a bit more respectable at the end.
Yeah, and you got to be smart, too, to understand actually what's taking place here. The off coverage, that is to say the corners are soft, that they're backed off. They're not playing press, no need to. That's why you're getting these easy yardage on the perimeters, high percentage passes, and it gives the impression that they really are picking them apart. But it's a 2 deep look, 2 safeties deep, which means it's a conservative shell of a defense.
And they swing it out to Smith yet again. You know, you were talking a little earlier about the assistant coaches and this staff that Sarkisian has. You know, from Kyle Flood, you think about the contacts. You know, his special teams coach had a relationship with Jeff Banks, had a relationship with a few other coaches. The contacts he utilized to get 3 from the staff at Alabama, plus Kwiatkowski, one of the great defensive minds in the Pac-12, had been working at Washington with Jimmy Lake. I mean, you can make a case, Spencer, that this is maybe not just an opportunity for a great coach to have a rebirth in his own career. A.J. Milwee, by the way, had worked with Terry Bowden at Akron and had been out of it for a bit, and he got him to come over and help as a quarterbacks coach. And my goodness, you can make a case that this could be the staff of the year. He obviously was a Frank Broyles winner, too, the award that goes out to the best assistant coach.
Well, all those guys that you mentioned are great, Tim, but I think that Jeff Banks, you know, is a special teams guy. There's a reason why he has that associate head coach title next to him. He's going to be a head coach soon.
Yeah.
And he's doing it the unconventional way. That is to say, he's not necessarily a coordinator, but when you watch him move about and engage his players, this guy is next level, man. He just exudes that leadership, ethic, ethos, whatever you want to call it. He's got it in spades.
Coming down to the end, Lewis is in trouble and sacked back at the 15-yard line.
Big Daddy.
Mr. Thornton getting through there as well, 46. That's the 6th Texas sack.
Louisiana,
and Billy Napier wants to talk about it.
Final charge time out of the half. 30 seconds.
Big Moro Ojomo got in there.
You know, you mentioned how big this game was. Look, this was an opponent that could have really given Texas more trouble than it turned out they did. They go to Arkansas. Now, you talk about great rivalries coming back. And hello, how do you do moving to the SEC down the road?
Right.
the old redheaded stepchild of the Southwest Conference is waiting for the Texas Longhorns next week.
There's still some bad blood there on that September 11th date, man, with the old harkening of the old Southwest Conference.
And that fan base in Fayetteville is now being treated, they think, with Coach Pittman to a rebirth of their own. And that'll be quite an entertaining game for the Longhorns next week. But I really felt the key for him was to get this win and to get a lot out of this win.
Well, it certainly did help him a great deal in terms of taking the pressure off, because in a 5-year window, you've gone through Charlie Strong, Tom Herman, and I'll tell you, it's proven those guys maybe were a little bit too shiny for this job. This was a difficult job.
Yep. And down goes Lewis again at the 25-yard line. This time it's Bush that gets through there, 43.
I think Sark is ready for this one, and that guy right there has still got the countenance and the personality. He's still going to be a good one. Now, the timing is, with this senior laden team, you can make an easy argument that you're not going to be better next year, right, with all the graduation. So, you got to look at the landscape of college football to see how stable that's going to be. And guys like him and Matt Campbell and others,
I think what matters in the big picture for him is winning a Sun Belt outright.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Making a big crack. Now, they would have been probably, once you get past Cincinnati, this team would probably have been the most likely to be a sort of New Year's Six Bowl kind of team out of the group of 5 conferences. Helmet came off, so Lewis will have to come out of the game for this play.
It's a 10-second runoff.
And a 10-second runoff that goes with that. So they got one shot at it, really. And Chandler Fields, number 16, the freshman from Metairie, and Archbishop Rummel will get his opportunity on national television. 3-star recruit coming out of Archbishop Rummel.
I'll do it.
This is the end.
And he didn't get a play. Son of a gun. Well, you got to mention. But the moment belongs to Texas and Steve Sarkisian. And as he said, I've got a lot to prove. Texas has a lot to prove. I think he did.
I think you're absolutely right. He acquitted himself, balanced and managed that quarterback situation extremely well. Impressive.
2 outstanding coaches meet at midfield for Spencer Tillman, our entire crew. Brett Bender, our spotter. Scott Alexander, our content coordinator. Tim Rando saying goodbye for now. We're going to take you to the studio on the other side with Mike Hill and the guys. Stay right where you are.
Well, Geico's 85